Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You're listening to KEMPIRE here on the KEMPIRE Radio Network. Happy Friday, y'all. Where did the week go? Oh my goodness, and I still have so much more that I feel like I need to get done this week. OMG. Happy Friday. This is our FRI-YAY live. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. Shout out to all of you that are watching from around the country. People are watching from Atlanta's metro area. We got Australia in the building, Philly's in the building, North Cal's in the building. Shout out to all of you that attended our special members only live chat, but it was live and you guys can watch the replay with Nancy, our Vedic astrologer, dropped by. She read all of our members' birth charts, like quick little readings and things like that. I loved it. You can hear the playback now on the KEMPIRE podcast. So be sure to check it out there, or you can watch the replay here. I'm not sure how long I'll keep the replay up here on YouTube. That's why I said make sure you go and take a watch if you want to watch, but you can listen to it on the podcast. Allison says, finally caught it live. What's going on? Hey, Patricia. Thank you for liking the video. Yes, guys, like the video. It's easy, free way of supporting the channel. Winter says, KEMPIRE, thank you for the birth chart reading yesterday. You're welcome, Winter. In the moment, I was trying to pay attention and produce and get the comments going, make sure everything was good. So I need to go back and listen because I'm so invested. I'm invested in some of y'all lives because some of you've called in before talking about your relationships and your work and things like that before for our dating lives. So I'm interested to know more. Some of you have already booked up Nancy this weekend, so thank you for supporting. I love it when we can bring a guest on and you guys are able to benefit from that guest. So shout out to Nancy and shout out to all of you that called in, those of you that watched and enjoyed and liked the video. If you missed it, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. You can also hear it on the KEMPIRE podcast. All right. London's in the building. What's going on, London? Hey, everyone. Chi-Town's in the building. Hey, I got to get to Chicago when it warms up, because I'm sure if New York hasn't warmed up, it's 50-something degrees today. I don't want it to jump to 80 and 90, but I was on my terrace and I was like, it is chilly. Let me go back inside. Okay. I can't even wear my pom-pom shorts. Speaking of pom-pom shorts, if you follow me on TikTok, I did post my very first shopping haul from Banana Republic. I will probably eventually post it here on YouTube, but if you don't want to wait for that and you want to watch it straight through, the KEMPIRE on TikTok mods, if we can post a link to my TikTok in the chat, that'd be great. Oh, Qatar's in the building, or Qatar's in the building. Beautiful photo. Oud? Is that how you pronounce? Oh, Oud? Is that how you pronounce your name? Beautiful photo. Excuse me. It's cold, Raven says, in Chicago. So y'all not gonna see me till maybe August. Maybe August I'll come when it warms up over there. Okay. I went to Chicago in May of 2019, and I went by Lake Michigan. I could have used my winter coat when I went to Chicago in May. So I know it's probably still frigid over there. Red 3 Yes Girl says, hey, happy Friday from Berlin, Germany. Shout out to you. I haven't been to Berlin a while, too. Nellie's watching from Zambia. What's going on, y'all? Tish from Tampa. Perfect, Tish. Tish came to my New York City show. Met her and her husband. All right. Paula says, I saw the haul on Instagram. Loved it. Thank you, Paula. All right, let's get to it because we have so much to talk about when it comes to our FRI-YAY live. After the live, probably this evening, I will post the timestamps. But like I said, this is a great show that you can watch from beginning to end, all right? In regards, or listen to as you're getting things done in your home. All right. We always start off our FRI-YAY lives. First off, what is your good news? What is something that you can celebrate today? Maybe you didn't even think about. What is your good news? I'm just happy that it's a sunny day. I'm happy I got my Pilates done. I got my Pilates done early. I'm glad I was able to watch Ladies of London, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Summer House again. I was in the middle of watching Summer House, hence why I'm a little bit late. I didn't get to finish watching it for my second watch, but I did watch it. We will talk about Summer House in a second because I get it. We're watching something that was filmed already and we know what's happened since then, but Sierra, buckle up, girl, because and I know y'all probably feel the way that I feel. It's just like, how is that your person? All right, I'll get there. I will get there. What else good news that can I celebrate? I went to the chiropractor yesterday. I feel my body feels a lot better. In the moment, it wasn't feeling that great, but I feel a lot better now today. So I'm glad to be feeling more limber. And I did Pilates this morning. I had my Pilates session this morning. So I'm feeling awake. But let me tell you something. The chiropractor, when she did one particular move yesterday, when she was snapping my neck, I said, oh, I am officially awake. Mind you, this was the afternoon. Because I was like, whoa. But I feel better. And then she gua sha'd my left quad because for some reason, I can't wear just any old shoe anymore. So on Saturday when it was rainy, I wore like my rain boots. Rain boots aren't the best, even though it's the on cloud ones. And I must have messed up my left foot. So it took me a little while to not feel pain in that foot. And then I told her about it, even though it was starting to feel a little bit better. But then she gua sha'd where they scrape, you know how you can gua sha your face and gua sha other parts of your body? She gua sha'd my left calf. And my calf's already tight. Y'all know I already love to walk. The weather's been warming up here in New York City. So I've been doing a little bit more walking than during the winter. So my calves are already a little tight. I know I should be stretching them on my own. I know. My stretch therapist says the same thing. Fine. Okay. She gua sha'd my left calf. Yes. And it was painful. But it feels a lot better today. Not really. It feels better in regards to walking on it, but because she gua sha'd it, it's a little sensitive to the touch. Just saying. Anyway, I have digressed, but I'm telling you my good news, okay? You tell me what your good news is, all right? All right, let me see. Oh, what is good news? Wait, I missed your good news, Pageant Mommy. What's your good news? Oh, Pageant Mommy, Aries' sister here. Pageant Mommy, who's also a member. Thank you for being a member. She says, the book that I'm writing is really taking shape. I can only imagine how that feels. I can only imagine, especially like when you first start. I'm sure Amanda probably feels the same because you're actually writing it, right? We will get to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in a second. All right. I can, again, if you're part of the replay crew, be sure to let us know your good news as well. Shout out to Keith. Keith's good news. My service agreement has just been finalized for my business. Congratulations. Keith had told us that he started his own business as well. I don't remember which live it was. Was it this week? Keith, I can't keep up. Hold on. Tamala says my DL has been expired since December. I'm legally driving since today. Tamala, she says, my DL had been expired since December. I'm legally driving since today. I am happy for us in these streets. Look, Either Scientist says, I love the pain of gua sha. I can't say I love the pain. Sometimes it's too much. Oh, hold on. Tiara says, my guests have started getting my Vegas elopement postcards. Wait, huh? Wait. You eloped and then you told people you eloped via the postcard? So now people are reacting. Are you also telling us that you just got married too, Tiara? Or did you tell us this before? I can't keep up. We have thousands and thousands of people here. Tiara, did you just tell us you got married? Please explain, because I am confused. Chesley says, okay, legally driving. The streets are safer now. Or are they? That's hilarious. Now you're telling on yourself. Jennifer says, my good news, it's a bank holiday weekend in the UK. What holiday is it that you guys are celebrating in the UK? All right. I love seeing this good news in here, y'all. Queen Shamama says, my good news, Nancy was right. Our Vedic astrologer from yesterday got an email from HR that they're reviewing my job duties to increase my pay. Thank you, Nancy. I love that. That is some good news. That's some instant good news. Okay, Nia says, I recently moved and my place has been looking a mess. This week, things are really starting to look like this is an actual house and not a warehouse. Oh, Nia, when I first moved into this particular apartment, I had movers, shout out to RHOBH. But I didn't know if there was a service for them to unpack, but I wouldn't want them to unpack anyway because I'm moving to a new space. I don't know where I'm going to put everything. So the great thing, though, this is not sponsored. They packed everything up for me, moved it here. But then they put all these boxes in here, and I was so overwhelmed. I was like, how am I going to do this? But slowly but surely, things did start to take shape. So I know that feeling that you're having. Congratulations. One time. Yes. Kirsten, happy birthday, my Taurus sister. A May sister. Whew. May 1st. It's going to be May. Kirsten says, thank you for being a member, Kirsten. My good news today is my 56th birthday, and you don't even look 56, Kirsten. All right? Beautiful smile, Kirsten. Happy birthday, Kirsten. Everyone wish Kirsten a birthday. If it's your birthday and you're part of the replay group, you should let us know as well. Shout out to my Taurus brethren. All right? All right, let's get to our flunky of the week. There could be a whole list of flunkies of the week. The president, what's her name? Erica Kirk. She's such a weirdo. Klay Thompson could be flunky of the week. But the flunkies of the week, not the entire Supreme Court, just the ones that voted to gut the Voting Rights Act this week. And that's all the Republican assigned Supreme Court justices. The Associated Press report this. They said President Lyndon B. Johnson knew the legislation he was about to sign was momentous, one that took courage for certain members of Congress to pass, since the vote could cost them their seats. To honor that, he took the unusual step of leaving the Oval Office and going to Capitol Hill for the signing ceremony. It was August 6, 1965, 5 months after the Bloody Sunday attack on civil rights marchers in Selma, Alabama, gave momentum to the bill that became known as the Voting Rights Act. In the 6 decades since, it became one of the most consequential laws in the nation's history, preventing discrimination against minorities at the ballot box and helping to elect thousands of Black and Hispanic representatives at all levels of government. Shout out to the AP News for putting this together, because I think people don't understand what this means. On Wednesday, the U.S. Supreme Court knocked out a major pillar of the law that protected against racial discrimination in voting and representation. It was a decision that came more than a decade after the court undermined another key tenet of the law and led to restrictive voting laws in a number of states. Voting and civil rights advocates were left fearful of what lies ahead for minority communities. This is why people are reacting to this decision from the Supreme Court this week. It means that you have entire communities that can go without having representation, said Cliff Albright, a co-founder of the group Black Voters Matter. It is literally throwing us back to the Jim Crow era unapologetically, and that's not an exaggeration. Kareem Creighton, vice president of the Brennan Center for Justice Washington office, said that the court's steady work to erode the Voting Rights Act, culminating in Wednesday's decision, amounted to burying it without the funeral. So this has been ongoing in regards to them chipping away at the Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court ruling came in a congressional redistricting case out of Louisiana after the state created a district that gave the state its second Black representative to Congress. It found that map to be unconstitutional gerrymander because it took race into the account to draw the lines. In an opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, the court's conservative majority said that the provision of the Voting Rights Act in question, called Section 2, was designed to protect voters from intentional discrimination. Justice Elena Kagan, in her dissent, said that the bar to show intentional discrimination is an almost insurmountable barrier for challenges for any voting rights issues to prove discrimination. Voting rights experts said that the ruling leaves the Voting Rights Act only a shell of what it had been and will provide an open door for political map makers at every level, from local school districts to state legislators to Congress, to undermine minority representation. Shout out to the one person that disliked the video. Are you mad about the Voting Rights Act being gutted, or are you happy about it? Okay. We're witnessing the evisceration of America's greatest legislative landmark at the hands of a far-right Supreme Court. Democratic U.S. Representative Representative Richie Torres of New York said. Maria Teresa Kumar, president of Voto Latino, said that the decision will allow more aggressive cracking and packing of populations to dilute their votes, not just in congressional districts, but also in state legislatures, county commissions, school boards, and city councils. On Thursday, several civil rights groups held a joint news conference to condemn the Supreme Court ruling and to pledge to fight its impact. Sidebar, this is why the Democrats, y'all need to start pushing back more. Because some of this is also your fault. Because some of those Supreme Court justices should have been representative of the president at the time. But we're not going to go back and revisit that. So they said Mark Morial, National Urban League president and CEO, cautioned against framing the current moment as a merely battle for political control between Democrats and Republicans. This decision is a continuation of a frontal assault on the gains of the civil rights movement that began in 1954 with the Brown versus Board of Education decision, he said. Voting rights experts said that there is no doubting the law's impact over the decades. Sherilyn Ifill, a law professor at Howard University and the former president of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, said that there were about 1,500 black elected officials throughout the country in 1970. Today, that stands at more than 10,000. And it isn't because of the goodness of people's hearts. She said that the success was a direct result of black communities, civil rights activists, and lawyers having the tools through the Voting Rights Act to file challenges to efforts to diminish the voting strength of black and Hispanic voters. Most of the Section 2 cases have been over representation in local governments. It's not just the numbers. And we always talk about, when we're talking about voting, we talk about, there's the impact of national voting, but it's your local elections that matter most. This will directly affect those local elections. A loss of representation, especially in state legislature and Congress, will translate into minority communities losing a voice on issues that matter to them, such as healthcare, education, and needed public works upgrades, said Sophia Lynn Lacken, Deputy Director of the American Civil Liberties Union's Voting Rights Project. States can now point to partisan objectives to justify maps that strip voters of color of representation, and federal courts will have little basis to intervene. The landmark law signed by Johnson 61 years ago has been amended over the years, but the biggest change was in 2013. So this has been going on. Some people don't even realize this. When the Supreme Court released its ruling in Shelby County versus Holder, the decision essentially ended a provision of the Voting Rights Act mandating the way states and local jurisdictions were included on a list of those needing to get advanced approval or pre-clearance from the U.S. Justice Department for voting-related changes. The decision paved the way for mostly Republican states to pass a wave of restrictive election legislation, especially after President Donald Trump, a Republican, falsely claimed widespread fraud cost him re-election in 2020 against Democrat Joe Biden. In a surprise ruling in 2023, the Supreme Court upheld Section 2 in a redistricting case out of Alabama, a ruling that is essentially reversed on Wednesday. The question now is what comes next for minority representatives and the communities they represent. In Louisiana, the decision puts Democratic Rep. Cleo Fields on the endangered list. The state's top elected leaders, all Republicans, already are planning to postpone the state's May 16 primary so that they can redraw the congressional maps. This isn't the first time redistricting has complicated Fields' political plans. He served for 2 terms in the 1990s before the state redrew his congressional district. I've been down this road before 33 years ago, he said. Shamari Figures, who won the seat created in Alabama after the court's 2023 decision, said the decision doesn't make changes to the state's current congressional districts, but it has made proving future racial discrimination in redistricting cases significantly tougher. It will lead to states primarily in the South launching immediate efforts to redraw districts in ways that will dilute the impact of black voters and drastically reduce the number of realistic opportunities to elect black members to Congress, he said. Shalala Dowdy, an Alabama resident who was a plaintiff in the lawsuit that resulted in the creation of a new district, now represented by figures, said that she is worried that the decision will lead to the rollback of the district created in 2023, which she said gave black voters a greater voice. Putting it in the hands of the states on this level is dangerous, Dowdy said. There's just been a history of the states not doing the right thing based off their state population. Stay aware, y'all. Stay fully aware of what's happening in this country. We do have very important elections coming up next month. You have primaries coming up, and then, of course, in November. So make sure that you're still registered to vote, because that's also a thing. All right? Jesse says Fields is my representative. Just Jules, can we talk about it? I've talked about this before. Just Jules says, hear me out. In my opinion, I blame the Democrats for not getting Biden to step down 3 to 5 months earlier. So Harris had time to actively put a campaign together. She had less than 60 days. I 100% agree with you. I think that the thing is, other Democrats, other liberals, other independents attack people when people say that. But it's true. They feel like you're attacking the Democrats, like you're not in solidarity with Kamala being elected. But I'm going to say this because this is my platform. The way that was handled was not very democratic, because basically they forced Kamala, who was overly qualified and should have won. But the way that was handled wasn't the way that it should have been handled within the United States of America. If we're talking about an election, it should have been, okay, Joe Biden's not going to seek a re-election, so now let's have a primary. We have all of our candidates, and who knows, maybe she would have won that primary. I think that the way that was handled was poor. Lou's two things can be true. Two things can be true. Lou says, I disagree. She lost because our country is sexist. I could see that too, because you saw what happened with Hillary when she ran. Another overqualified individual that lost. But I just wanted to start off with that. So the flunkies of the week are part of the top 3 are not our flunkies of the week. So no disrespect to the top 3 Supreme Court justices, but the rest of them, including Clarence Thomas, whatever is Thompson, fool, clown, him too. Flunky of the week. If anything, he's probably the biggest flunky of the week. Anyway, I've digressed. All right, that part. Pageant Mommy says anti-black and sexist. All of that when it comes to them not voting for Kamala. Chocolate Soul says, yeah, and so many black men voted for Trump. Not this black man. Look. Not this black man. All right? Hey, that's a better name, Keith. Keith says, you mean Uncle Ruckus? That's a better name for Clarence. Anyway, if you haven't already, be sure to like today's video. It's an easy, free way of supporting our FRI-YAY Live, where we talk about a variety of hot topics, but also reality television. So let's move on to some reality television. Let's talk about Summer House. Every time I say Summer House, I want to say Summer House Martha's Vineyard. That's the only Summer House that we recapped originally. How are you guys feeling about the season so far? How are you feeling about the newbies? Because I saw that they brought on a bunch of newbies in order to transition the old cast into In the City, which is a new show, a new spinoff from Summer House. And I'm hearing that In the City, they're about to pick up cameras again to capture the West and Amanda of it all. Bravo, you're not going to beat those allegations. You're not going to beat those allegations about this whole Summer House Amanda situation. I don't know about In the City. Some of you are asking if I'm going to recap it. I'm probably not, to be honest with you, because I haven't been recapping Summer House. I've just been recapping this current season. The only newbies for Summer House Season 10 that I like for this season, I think Bailey was a good addition in her own way. She's like falling off for me towards the end of the season, but she was a good addition. Her friend, I don't even know. I still don't remember her name. She's at the reunion. She's like falling off the stage. No, I liked KJ. I liked Mia. I figured out, did I tell you guys I figured out where I knew Mia from? She was on Selling the Hamptons. And I was like, oh, because like, why does her face look so familiar to me? I like Mia and I like KJ. And it's not just because they're black. Because I know some of these people be like, oh, you only like it because they're black. No, We've gotten so many personal stories. They've been so vulnerable. They're so likable. I like Bailey too. She's not black that we know of. Just saying. But I don't think that they could carry next season on their own. Because I heard that was the whole idea. I don't think they could carry next season on their own. And honestly, can I be honest with you guys? And it's not just because of the scamanda of it all. I don't want to see West again. Sidebar, did y'all hear about West's cousin unaliving his step-grandmother? Look, normally we probably wouldn't even talk about that if it wasn't connected to Wes. But here's the thing about Wes. Wes, ever since the breakup between him and Ciara, can I consider that even a breakup? Were they even dating? Okay, they were dating, but they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. So whatever happened then, because I delved into Summer House then a little bit, and I said to myself, and especially because I saw the parts of the reunion, I was like, this guy's just thirsty to be on reality television. So he will do anything to be on reality television and spin the narrative. And I think what we're seeing at the end of season 10 of Summer House is Wes trying to get into the good graces of the fans again. Because I think he's been getting trolled by Ciara fans ever since the Ciara fallout. Yes, over the last 2 years. So I just feel like he moves funny. So I wouldn't put it past him for leaking any of this information from the reunion to the blogs and Reddit. Okay? Apparently, it wasn't him. It may have been someone in the crew, and it's been solved. If you missed it, we talked about it on Tuesday Takeover. Andy says it was a Bravo fan. Was it Jennifer Lawrence? Why do you refer to her as a Bravo fan? She's an A-list Oscar-winning actress. Why would he refer to her as a Bravo? She is a Bravo fan, but I was just like, how would you feel if you were an A-list actress named Jennifer Lawrence and you're subsequent to a Bravo fan? I was like, okay. All right. Foxy says extremely thirsty. I don't like him. I don't think he's likable. I don't know what exactly does he offer to this cast besides the drama that he's caused recently. Oh, he's a party animal? Like, I find nothing. Like, Ciara, this is why I get so frustrated with you in this week's episode of Summer House. He's my person. Girl, Ciara wants to make it seem like she can just be friends with Wes, and she misses her best friend. Your best friend. I'm so frustrated with Ciara, y'all. I'm trying to be nice. But I was frustrated with Ciara this week. He's my No, girl, you like him. You're in love with him. You're infatuated with him for whatever reason. I don't know why you like Midwest, because he's mediocre at best. There's nothing about his personality. Look, everyone is already talking about, he's not the most attractive. He's not good. His personality is not even attractive. You know what I mean? Sparkles, she does, says he's extremely manipulative. I see it. For me, his personality is what makes him even uglier to me. But Ciara this week, she had the conversation with him last week, and she starts crying. I miss my friend. I didn't watch the last season. Did they not interact last season at all? So I find it so interesting. 2 seasons later, now they're finally having a conversation. And she's like, I miss my friend. Coco says, is it the D? The D has been circulating on the internet, and word on the street is not that impressive. But then I thought to myself, it's not always the size. Look, I don't know, Ciara. I just got really frustrated with you this week. I really did, especially when she was like, he's my person. Girl. She's like, oh, that was my best friend. But now y'all going on a double date after the soft bar launch? It's clear she wanted to get back with him. And then in this week's episode, Wes is admitting to other people, oh, I still have a crush on her. Look, we don't know whether or not the Amanda and Wes of it all was happening during the summer. People speculate that it was. I don't think it was exclusive. I don't know if it was exclusive until recently. But I don't know if I even believe that he had a crush on her. I think he was playing it up for the cameras. I don't trust Wes in the least bit. I think he plays to the cameras. R. Bless says, maybe he's just a good eater, Kemp. This is not Kempire After Dark. Y'all better behave yourselves in the chat. Either way, I need her to look. There's too many men in the sea that could do all of those things and have all of those things. Her saying he's my person, he was my best friend. I don't believe any of that. He was your best friend? And she's a Capricorn? I was like, Capricorns are a little bit more selective about their best friends. I don't know. Like, really? I was getting so frustrated with her. At one particular point when they're on the boat, she's like this, staring up at him. And I said, oh, I just wanted to pick her up and shake her. Anyone else get frustrated too? So she's like crouching down. Look, I don't know all of Ciara's history. I know she's had some mental health things. She's on Prozac. She's talked about this. And her relationship with her dad has been strained. But she's crunched up. He's like over her. Like he's sitting up straight. And she's this crunched up, looking up ahead of him adoringly because now they've had their conversation. They're at peace. They're best friends again. They're going on a double date. And when asked about them going on a double date, Wes is like, oh, I don't know. I don't know about this. He's already hemming and hawing about it. I was so upset with this episode. I was annoyed. But here's why I'm more annoyed. It's not even just about Wes. And see, I'm concerned that if Ciara doesn't heal and really figure out why she would chase after a guy like this, she's doomed to repeat it again with someone else. So for me, it's the fact that she hasn't learned anything and she's going to do it with some other random that comes on this show. He's my person. Even though based on history, they say she's very selective. I can't tell. I can't tell that she's very selective. I was so annoyed. DC says Ciara was acting nutty. So I wasn't the only one frustrated. I'm looking at Ciara, I'm like, Ciara, get up! So annoyed. What else happened this week's episode? Oh, so we're starting to see the cracking of Kyle and Amanda's relationship. I don't even care because it seems as if based off the history of their relationship and you guys are giving me the cliff notes. Damn, Danielle says size matters. Okay, fine. Look, y'all have given me the cliff notes about their relationship. She was a pick-me from way back when. He was acting all kinds of. He wasn't interested in her. She chased him. And then even though he was cheating and all this other stuff, cheating and eating somewhere else. Oh, cheating and eating somewhere else. She still married the man. So is anyone shocked that they're getting a divorce? Only for us to find out from Jesse that they're not even sleeping together and they haven't slept together in years? Let me tell you this then. If they have really not slept together in years, and apparently Carl told them, they were like, there's something about Jesse. I know you guys don't want to see Jesse and Ciara together. And I do believe Wes tried to jock block Jesse this summer by trying to infiltrate Ciara because he didn't want Jesse hooking up with Ciara. There's something about Jesse I like. And I don't have the history with Jesse, and he might be an F-boy, not willing to commit, and that's not good for Ciara, but there's something endearing about him. I'm just going to say that. I don't know a man from a can of paint. I'm watching an edited show. Also, you're watching an edited show, and there might have been stuff that he said and done over the years that y'all don't like. But just what I've seen on this season, I'm like, oh, I like him. And look, am I acting like Ciara to Jesse? No. Look. BY says Amanda just wants fame. We've talked about that too. Did she just play the long game? Did she play the long game? Oh my goodness. All right. So we're seeing the downfall of Kyle and Amanda's relationship. She didn't come up this past weekend and he was having a good old time without her being there. And he seems actually genuinely happy. But thinking about the West of it all, and when she saw that Wes chimed in the group chat about them having a great weekend, and it seemed that was the only time that she sparked some life in the group chat. Did that stand out to anyone else? Wait a minute. You have a bigger reaction to Wes saying that they're having a great weekend than your own husband? Millie says, I don't see it for Wes. He's not even good looking. I know everyone says he's not good looking. That aside, his personality is not even great. Even his personality is not great. Top on that, he's not even the best looking guy. DC says, I think Jesse said that she wanted to date, that he wanted to date Ciara, but Wes called dibs back when they all met, which is just, it's telling a woman hearing that you call dibs on a relationship with her is not going to win you over. This is why y'all need gay friends. Okay? I'm like, don't say that. Not calling dibs, but I get what you're saying. That's what they said at the time. Nelly, does Jesse got any black in him? I think I asked this before. He's Jewish, right? Nelly says Jesse and Ciara definitely look better together than Wes. But it's not even just about look. Yes, they do definitely look better together. But it's also personality. But they seem to have a good friendship. But I don't know. Ciara, I think you need time to heal and figure out why the hell you were chasing after Wes. What else happened? Carl. Okay, I have to say this about Carl. His storyline this season has been very heartwarming. The full circle moment with Soft Bar. My friend went to Soft Bar. I don't know if he was actually at this particular party, but I think it was this party. I have to ask him. But he said the drinks were good. I'm concerned, though. And when I'm saying I'm concerned is because so many people launch reality TV show businesses, meaning like you launch a business on a reality show, and then if you're no longer on the reality show, it doesn't do well. I haven't had any of the drinks. I also know how hard it is in New York City to start anything from a bar or restaurant, whatever it may be. Tons of these places open and close all the time. My concern for Carl, is that this is a very unique niche idea. How many people are going to be here for it besides the fact that you're on a reality show that's popular? And it might do well this year, but will it do well in a few years? I don't know. And this is coming from someone that might love a soft bar because I don't drink. Does he serves coffee too? Look, what else is happening there? Is it open during the day? Foxy says, I would definitely go there. I would go, but would I go all the time? I don't know. Exactly. Whale Key says it's called Bravo Business Bankruptcy. That's a perfect way. BBB. All right. But I enjoyed him talking about this business and why he went sober. Shout out to him. He also did the London Marathon. We talked about Cynthia Erivo doing the London Marathon this past weekend as well. He's on the up and up. He's doing better. I love what he said, though. He says, I don't know if Soft Bar would not be here if my brother didn't pass away. But then he also said, would I give anything, including Soft Bar, to have my brother back? Yes. But he says that I don't think I would be where I am today if my brother didn't pass away. That was such a powerful, mature thing for him to say. Sidebar, the situation between Lindsay and his mother. That was very interesting to watch in this week's episode. Very interesting. But then I was thinking to myself, are Lindsay and his mother very similar? And that's why they didn't necessarily see eye to eye or get along. What do y'all think? Because y'all been watching this a lot longer than me. But just based off of that interaction, I was like, they actually seem like they're the same person. Okay? Yeah, I did know about Carl's brother and what happened there. And Carl was also in a bad place when it comes to addiction. And apparently a producer stepped in and called it out. I'm happy for Carl. And the fact that he had that aha moment in regards to Soft Bar, I want his business to be successful. I'm just concerned that it's so niche that, and again, it's on a reality show, you're launching it. I'm concerned. Kyle was in his feelings because Loverboy's non-alcoholic beverage was not on the list of beverages. How do you guys feel about that? Because remember, one of the big issues for Carl this season was the fact that he couldn't rely on his friend Kyle to make an investment, even though he made an investment into Loverboy. But Kyle said that he didn't have it. I would never tell someone to give something they don't have. So part of me feels bad about that. But at the same time, I'm like, should he put Loverboy's non-alcoholic? He's still your friend. He's still your best friend. And they're in a good place now. It's going to get crazy for a little bit, but they're in a good place now. They were showing love to each other on social media recently. I don't know. Winter says, are these people real New Yorkers? When you say real New Yorkers, what do you mean? I don't think so. They're not originally from here. But if you've lived here more than 10 years, and the show's been on for 10 years, so technically they're real New Yorkers now. Maybe. I don't know. He did go, because his soft bar's in Williamsburg, one of the most gentrified areas. So just saying, now gentrified areas, because just saying. The space looked great, though. The space looked great. Okay, Jenny, I was wondering. Jenny says, issue with Carl and Kyle is a storyline, 100. I was wondering, are they just playing this up for the cameras a little bit? Because I just don't understand why Carl would not understand why his friend wouldn't give when he doesn't have it. I'm not going to expect a friend to give something they don't have. If you don't have money right now, your business is $2 million in debt, I'm not asking you for an investment. I'll give you a couple of cans of Loverboy, non-alcoholic. But Loverboy's not doing well. The beverage industry is not that great. Anyone in the chat have ever have Loverboy? I don't know. Again, a very niche market that's geared towards Bravo fans. You need something that's going to be geared towards everybody loves it. That's what happened with Bethany. Everyone's been trying to recreate what Bethany did. But Bethany had something that stood the test of time, that stood outside of the Bravo universe. And maybe it stood outside the Bravo universe because it was so early on, before the Bravo universe really was created. I don't know. Brandy says Carl's from Pittsburgh. Okay. I think all of them are, right? The good majority of them aren't from New York. That's okay. Look, that's okay. Oh, Wave Q says you have to been in New York since high school. At least. No. If you've been here there are some New Yorkers that have been here for 20 years, but they didn't go to high school here. They maybe moved here for college. Choco says it's no to Loverboy. I've never had it. Not even they're now non-alcoholic, so I have no idea. I know when I've been to BravoCon, it's like you see they usually have a cart or something there. Damn, Real House Husband says Loverboy is only sold in the Northeast. Okay. Jennifer says Bethany equals right time, right place. I think there's a few elements. I don't want to just do that to Bethany because Bethany had been working very hard on her businesses at that time. But I get what you're saying. I definitely think that there was an element. And I think it was just the time, too. All right. Charlie says it's in Chicago. Loverboy? All right. Tiara says it's hard to find. Like Vita Tequila was at one particular point. It's not easy. It's not business. Owning your own business, a beverage business, a restaurant, a bar, those are not easy. I know as spectators on the outside, we all feel like, oh, terrible business person. Y'all have no idea unless you've done it. If you've done it, then you can speak to it. But if you've never owned a restaurant, you've never owned a bar, you never owned your own business, and you're doing like a storefront or there's a beverage business, these businesses are hard. Okay? But also some of these folks just want to have a business and they really aren't passionate about it. I don't know about Kyle. I don't know about Carl, but Real House Husband says it's not here in the South. Ooh. All right. It's in the Midwest, though. It's in Chicago. Damn, Ariana says, I still haven't seen Vita in real life. Have I? I don't think I've even seen Vita in real life. But again, I'm not looking for Vita, okay? I don't drink. So, just saying. Speaking of Nancy, our Vedic astrologer that stopped by yesterday, if you missed it, guys, you can watch it on YouTube, but you can also listen to the podcast version on the KEMPIRE podcast. Be sure to give us a 5-star review. She told me a while ago, like one of my first readings, that I shouldn't drink. And I was like, perfect, Nancy, I don't drink. So there's certain things that we're just naturally inclined to that are just better for us. The same when it comes to sugar. I think because sugar is such an addiction, I really shouldn't be having sugar either, based on my birth chart. Some of you got similar. When Nancy said, sidebar, when Nancy said that you need to have a flat stomach, I was like, I'm glad she never said that to me, Lord. But she told me I shouldn't have sugar. So if I eliminate sugar completely from diet, I will naturally have a flat stomach. Because for those of you who don't realize, you can do all the crunches you want in the world. If you want those abs, it begins in the kitchen. It begins with your diet. Every expert I've ever seen talk about that. So if we eliminate sugar, it's a process to eliminate sugar. But once you start it, like if you transition, then you'll be able to eliminate sugar. Okay, let me get back to this. Back to Summer House. Summer House. What else happened in this week's episode that I wanted to talk about? Ben's girlfriend's the one just spilling all the tea, all the bedroom stuff. And KJ was like, Ben went from being this single guy to now all of a sudden he's in a relationship. Yeah, Ben's an interesting one. I don't see Ben locking down, what's her, Sabrina is her name? I don't see him marrying this woman. I'm sorry, I just thought about it. At first I was like, oh, men will lock down who they really want to and take seriously. And then I thought to myself, I was like, I don't think so. I don't think she's the one. I don't think she's the one. She's a little annoying, to be honest. KJ and Dara. I already said this before about their relationship, but that was part of the story of this week's episode of Summer House. was about them maybe moving a little too fast. I definitely think they moved a little too fast. Apparently, y'all told me that they already said I love you. I don't know about this relationship. I wish them the best because I really like KJ. I feel like that KJ's like my little brother. No, I don't see it for them. Something about Dara I don't like. I don't know what it is, but I have a very good sense of the people's character. I don't know. Look, I don't know. Lakia says Sabrina is cringe. Okay, so it's not just me. Ben is playing with this woman. She's a little cringe and she's a little less than smart. She's always spilling things that they've talked about on Pillow Talk with the group. She's getting herself way too involved. And I don't know if she just wants to be on camera or that's just who she is as a personality. She's already spilling tea. Like, we're going to spend Christmas together. Girl. Angel says, I'm skeptical of Dara. Yeah. All right. Maureen says Ben is awkward. You think he's awkward? I think he's a little sneaky, honestly. I don't know if Ben is awkward. I think Ben is sneaky. Guys, do you like my sweater? My Are You Okay sweater? Yes. Head on over to houseofkempire.com. Mods, if we can post a link in the chat. Go get your House of Kempire merch today. There are also coffee mugs and things like that, travel mugs that you guys have been asking for, all kinds of things. There are also t-shirts because it is warming up everywhere else. Go get your Are You Okay merch. And today's brought to you by our friends over at Hulu. Real talk. You live for reality TV. Every time it gets crazy, gets juicy, gets dramatic, and completely irresistible. And lucky for you, Hulu on Disney Plus does too, with the most unhinged and unmatched library of shows. Period. Turn on larger-than-life docusoaps like Season 4 of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and the hit new series Love Thy Nader, featuring superstar model Brooks Nader and her sisters. Obsess over the seasons of iconic dating shows like Love Island UK and Farmer Wants a Wife. Get hooked on irresistible food competitions like MasterChef. Dive into hit game shows like Celebrity Family Feud and revel in show-stopping fashion competitions, including the one and only Project Runway. Whatever it is you're into, Hulu has it all. No filler, no fluff, just thousands of episodes of the very best in reality TV every single day. Because Hulu gets real. Stream now on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus for bundle subscribers. Terms apply. All right, welcome back to FRI-YAY Live, guys. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. And if you're listening to the podcast version, be sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. For those that are watching live, have you done that? I'm just saying, because those things matter, especially on the podcast universe. And are you subscribed to? And some of you probably don't realize that we have a podcast version of our live shows, but those are cleaned up, edited. Sometimes I add additional content, but there's also additional episodes available on the podcast as well. So subscribe today and give us a 5-star review. All right. Let's get to, oh gosh, y'all. I'm keeping you abreast of this situation with singer David. There's a lot that's been happening in regards to this case. I feel like we're going to be talking about this case for at least for the next year. Okay? So this is what happened this week. And I saved this story to talk about it because we have been covering this story since our Tuesday takeover. The BBC reports this in regards to U.S. singer David has been accused of purchasing tools online, including chainsaws, after prosecutors say that he stabbed a teen girl to death. The allegations were released in an evidence filing which details his alleged motive and steps prosecutors say that he took to cover his tracks before 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's dismembered body was found in his Tesla. Prosecutors say that he met Rivas Hernandez when she was 11 and allege that he started SAing her when she was 13 and he was 18. They allege the teen sent text messages threatening to reveal their illicit relationship and destroy his life before she was unalived. David, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke, has pleaded not guilty. Attorneys for David have maintained that they will vigorously defend David's innocence, and they said that they believe the evidence will show that David did not unalive Celeste. He appeared in court Wednesday as attorneys and prosecutors argued over the public release of the filing. He wore an orange Los Angeles County jail jumpsuit and was shackled while being escorted into the courtroom. He said very little aside from "Yes, Your Honor" when the judge asked if he was okay with his preliminary hearing being delayed until late May. In the court filing on Wednesday, prosecutors alleged that Burke stabbed the teen multiple times at his home. The filing states that prosecutors tracked purchases he made online using a fake name in the days after, including 2 chainsaws, an inflatable blue pool, a body bag, and a shovel. When I first read this story, guys, I can't tell you how I just continued just to be just so hard, just hurt for Celeste. They allege that he also purchased a burn cage and made plans to incinerate evidence, the filing states. The filing outlines previous interactions authorities had with the singer, including after the teen was reported missing in 2024 by her family. Prosecutors say that the text messages outline a lengthy argument on the 22nd of April of 2025 over the singer's relationship with other women. Rivas Hernandez texts threats to disclose damaging information about her relationship with the defendant to end his career, the filing states. There's a lot of damning evidence against him. Prosecutors say, remember, there was 40-something terabytes of evidence in this case. Prosecutors say in the court document that they believe that the teen was killed the following day. Prosecutors say that David ordered an Uber for Rivas Hernandez that day to come to his home, and she was dropped off there. They say that he texted her multiple times asking where she was, but prosecutors allege that the messages were a part of his plan to cover up the murder, the filing states. David's first studio album was released that week on the 25th of April. In the days after her alleged unaliving, prosecutors say that the singer made an array of purchases online to dispose of Rivas Hernandez's body. The filing alleges that he dismembered her remains in the garage of his Hollywood Hills home. And I wonder, I'm sure the prosecutors and the investigators did some sort of, just a DNA test in that garage, because no matter how well he thought he cleaned it, I'm sure there was evidence found there too. The court document also states that the surveillance footage shows Burke was the last person to drive his Tesla where the body was found in September of 2025. So he can't even claim that someone else had his car. The filing released on Wednesday has offered the most detailed timeline since the case captured international attention last year. It also alleges that the singer knew the teen was underage and had previous interactions with police over the girl after she was reported missing by her parents. Prosecutors say in the document that Burke was informed that Rivas Hernandez was underage by law enforcement officials in Riverside County who went to his Hollywood home looking for the runaway teen in February and April of 2024. He stated to them that he was unaware that she was a minor or that she had been reported missing, the filing said. When the girl returned home, her family took away her phone, but prosecutors alleged that David drove to the teen's middle school with a new mobile phone and allegedly paid a student $1,000 to get it to her. In court on Wednesday, his attorneys tried to block the release of the 9-page filing, saying that it would lead to more media coverage and could affect him getting a fair trial. We do have a very real concern about the very amount and white-hot focus and attention on this case for the last 7 months, and specifically in the last 2 weeks, his lawyer, Blair Burke, told the judge, arguing for the document to be sealed. Judge Charlene Alameda allowed for the document to be released, but did agree to keep other pieces of evidence sealed from public disclosure. So what exactly are they keeping sealed if we got this? Yes, and forensic is what a forensic investigators. If there are elements of this case are sealed and we got that much information and that already is damning, can you imagine what we don't know? On Thursday, an attorney for the Rivas Hernandez family called the new details horrifying and said that the family planned to refrain from speaking publicly about the case due to the gruesome details emerging almost daily, which is best because they want to have a fair trial. They want to make sure justice is achieved for Celeste. There are no words to express the indescribable pain the family is experiencing right now, attorney Patrick Steinfeld said. They still have bills to pay and jobs they go to every day. All they want is time to grieve and heal. Attorneys for David did not respond to the BBC's request for further comment. David, who rose to fame on TikTok with the viral hits Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, was on tour when police found Rivas Hernandez's body in the front trunk of his Tesla in September of 2025. His worldwide tour was canceled, and he largely retreated from public life and social media. Los Angeles police announced his arrest earlier this month. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman filed 7 criminal charges against him, including murder, continuous SA of a child, and the mutilation of remains. They said that the teen had been reported missing by her family and was last seen at Burke's Hollywood Hills home on April 3rd, 2025. Her body was found decomposing in Burke's Tesla 5 months later. Rivas Hernandez's family made their first public statement shortly after that, describing the love they had for the teen and calling for justice in her death. So that's the latest update that we have on this David and Celeste Rivas Hernandez story. We're going to continue to cover this story. Let's talk about another pop culture story that you guys brought to my attention. Did y'all see what's happening over there in South Carolina, the University of South Carolina? It seems as if we have a very weird update. First for those that don't know what's happening, let me give you this update, and this is from thestate.com. They report this. They said students at South Carolina State University are pushing back against the school's plan to invite Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette, a Republican candidate for governor, to be the next month's commencement speaker. The administration of the HBCU in Orangeburg has told the student leadership of the plan, even though it was yet to formally announce the decision or finalize the speaker. A school spokesperson said the university had no further comment. The governor's office confirmed that the May 8th commencement ceremony is on Yvette's calendar. It has led to an online petition, which as of 2:30 p.m. Tuesday had more than 2,600 signatures. Let me look at the online petition. Please hold. Let me see. It's a change.org petition. At that particular point, now on Friday, they have 23,708 votes, signatures. I will post it in the chat if you guys want to sign it as well. Let me just post it right here. There y'all go. Okay? 23,708 verified signatures. And they say in this write-up, they says, as a student at South Carolina State University, a proud historically black college and university, I am deeply concerned about the decision to have Pamela Yvette as the commencement speaker for the spring 2026 graduation ceremony. This choice feels like a disservice to the values and mission that our institution stands for. South Carolina State University has a rich legacy of empowering students and fostering leadership who are committed to diverse, inclusive, and progressive values. Throughout our history, we have been at the forefront of advocating for social justice, equality, and education that truly represents and supports our community. Inviting a speaker whose actions and policies do not resonate with the ethos of our university undermines this legacy. First of all, shout out to Danielle. She sent me some videos on TikTok about some of the students speaking out. These kids know what they're doing. They give me hope for the future. And even the way that this petition is written is very impressive. They said our graduation ceremony should celebrate the culmination of our academic achievements and honor the journey of resilience, empowerment we have undertaken. It is a moment that should inspire and uplift our graduates, preparing them to tackle the challenges and opportunities ahead. We deserve a speaker whose message aligns with hope, empowerment, and progress. A speaker who truly embodies the spirit of South Carolina State University. Now that this has become such headline news, they probably could get the best speaker. I wonder who's now going to be the speaker, because it's May 1st. Time's a ticking. I know they can get someone Obama. Oh, see, I don't know if Obama's available, but Obama. Come on now, Obama. I'm volunteering you. I'm volunteering you for the job. Oh, Pageant Mommy, this is exactly what I said when this was brought to my attention. Pageant Mommy says, why would President Alexander Conyers be okay with this? Follow the money. Because a lot of people don't realize A lot of these opportunities, these honors for speaking at these places are bought and paid. It's for influence. All right. So they said that we respectfully request the administration reconsider the decision and select a commencement speaker who reflects the aspirations and values of our students. An alternative speaker who inspires and resonates with our diverse and dynamic university community would contribute to a memorable and fitting celebration of our achievements. By signing this petition, we call on the administration of South Carolina State University to act in the best interests of its students, honoring the rich culture and history of our revered institution. Let us ensure that our commencement ceremony reflects the legacy and future we are proud to be a part of. Please join us in advocating for a commencement speaker who truly honors our community and aspirations. Sign the petition today to make your voice heard. Okay? And I will post it again in the chat. And if you're watching the replay of this, you'll see it in the chat along the way. If anything, if I remember, I'll post it in the description, or you can just Google Schmoogle it. There's so many great speakers. And please, in the chat, if you're in part of the replay, who do you think should go down there to South Carolina and be the commencement speaker that can inspire the students? I really feel President Obama would be cherry on top, to be honest. Can you imagine if they had a bunch of people come and do a few speeches? All right. I had more, though, because, of course, let me show you something. Because in researching this story, I also saw that Fox News was reporting that GOP lawmakers seek to defund the HBCU after it canceled Republicans' commencement speech. So South Carolina Republicans are pushing to strip funding from the state's only public HBCU after university rescinded Republican Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette's commencement invitation following students' protests and security concerns. What begun as a student protest over a conservative commencement speaker resulted in credible safety threats, according to Yvette, who spoke to Fox News Digital after her commencement address at South Carolina State University was canceled. Following an uproar from students who decried Yvette's views on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, abortion, and her support of President Donald Trump, among other issues, the university's president put out a statement indicating that out of abundance of caution for safety, the college would be moving in a different direction for the spring commencement. That is not enough of an apology to the students. So it's for her safety is the reason why you're doing it. Who said Tamar? You know what? Stop it. I think we could get someone better than Tamar to speak at the school, okay? From the outset, our decision to invite Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette as our spring 2026 commencement speaker was rooted in her record as a business leader and entrepreneur. I can't believe an HBCU would want this woman to speak at this. It did follow the money. Like what? As the founder and former CEO of a company that grew from a startup into a billion-dollar enterprise, she represents the kind of innovation, resilience, and real-world achievement that aligns with the aspirations of our graduates, the statement read. We are grateful to the Lieutenant Governor, Yvette, for her willingness to engage with our students and for her time and consideration in accepting the invitation. Y'all need to be more concerned with the leadership over there at South Carolina State University, because somebody was bought. Because you thought, despite her political views at an HBCU, let's invite this white woman to say what? Okay. Pressure from students, including multiple protests around South Carolina State campus, led to the ultimate decision to rescind the invitation for Yvette, which the lieutenant governor said was sent to her in December. The lieutenant governor indicated to Fox News Digital that she never publicized her address or shared publicly what she would speak about. Yvette described the protesters as a woke mob. So that already tells me who she is. That already tells me who she is. And the leadership over there at South Carolina State, shame on you. If she's referring to the protesters as a woke mob, she is basically a Donald Trump advocate. I wouldn't want her speaking at my commencement speech either. She described the protesters as a woke mob, earning her backlash, but she refused to back down from the statement when talking to Fox News Digital. According to Yvette, attorneys from the South Carolina State called attorneys in her office telling them the reason for canceling the event was due to credible threats. I guess legally that's their best thing, not saying that, girl, we can't have you speak at this college. All right. So I wanted to bring that news to you. I look forward to seeing who possibly they decide will speak at the commencement speech. I don't know if it's available. I know I'm volunteering former President Barack Obama. I just don't know if it can fit in his schedule. The Obama Center is supposed to be opening soon, so he's busy. Come on, Obama, get your speechwriters together and let's get it done. All right. Mackenzie Scott would be a right. Did she donate to them? Because she donated to a bunch of HBCUs. Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She would actually be a fantastic commencement speaker. If it has to be a white woman, that is the one. That's the one. No. All right, let me move on because already this has been a very busy day. Very busy day. Today's brought to you by our friends though over at Factor Meals. Okay, I get it. It's not a new year, but it can still be a new you. As we've partnered with Factor many times, and this is no different. But let me paint a picture for you. Hunger strikes and you're exhausted. I know it, especially on a busy day. There's something healthy in your fridge or pantry that you should be making, but you don't have it in you. Relatable. For me, eating healthy isn't a willpower problem. It's a setup problem until I found Factor. As I have a busy schedule, sometimes there's breaking news and I do not have the time in me to cook that meal or prepare for that meal. With Factor, I'm hitting my nutrition goals this season without the planning, grocery shopping, or cooking. What I also love about Factor is that you're getting great quality meals, dietitian approved meals. Factor has meals built around your goals, whether that's weight loss, overall nutrition, more protein, or GLP-1 support. For strength and workout recovery, check out Factor's Muscle Pro collection. As I've mentioned many times before, Factor meals are crafted with functional ingredients from lean proteins, colorful veggie, whole foods, and healthy fats. Factor bans 175 plus ingredients, no artificial colors, no sweeteners, no high fructose corn syrup, and no refined seed oils. And most importantly, convenience. Ready in 2 minutes, Factor shops, preps, cooks, and delivers straight to your door so you have more time for everything you love this spring. Head to factormeals.com/Kempire50 off and use code Kempire50 off to get 50% off and free daily greens per box with new subscription only while supplies last until September 27th, 2026. See website for more details. More details on Factor and your discounts will be available in the description. Thanks, Factor. RV says Factor must be really good because the folks are sealing the delivery boxes in my old Bronx neighborhood. They are. Matter of fact, I need to order me some updated Factor meals. Okay, Dudesy. Thank you for being a member. Says Factor meals. I know you're reading the comments. Please expand to the UK as I'd love to try. I hear you. All right, guys, don't forget to like today's video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. This is our FRI-YAY Live. Let's move into some more reality television. Let's talk about Ladies of London. They had their season finale this week. I know some people are saying that they wanted more episodes. No, guys, I can already feel that the episodes were getting a little redundant, that we were dragging some stuff out, and not in necessarily a bad way, but I was like, no, if they try and make this 15 episodes, 20 episodes, then we're going to be like, the show is boring. I think 10 episodes was perfect. I think the season finale was really great. But Mark Francis's reaction, he was at Micah's event and he starts talking about what happened with him and Margot and her calling him, no, not weird. He said that she called him a freak or something like that, and she never did. She later said when confronted about it, she's like, I didn't call him a freak, but he is a freak. I felt like that was a bit of a reach. Here's the thing with Mark Francis and Margot. I think they're the same person. And that's what we're seeing. But in this week's episode, the season finale, we see Margot reach out to him for them to have a sit down. But at the top of the episode, Mark Francis has his own emotional reaction, probably because he heard that, what's her name? Margot had her panic attack. It felt so performative to me that he was just like, and that he had to leave the room. Look, I don't want to joke about anyone's trauma, not to say that people calling him a freak because he's gay or whatever it may be, he can't introduce his partner to his family still. And I was just like, is he reacting this way because he heard that she had her reaction? And now it's like the battle of who's going to have the most trauma. Look, not to say that her panic attack wasn't real, not to say that his whatever that wasn't real. I just felt like it felt a little performative because he heard that she had that reaction. So now he needs everyone to feel sorry for him. Missy's falling for it. She's, oh my gosh. Everyone seems to be on his side when it comes to this. But I do feel like Margot is dragging it. And the fact that Margot is trying to spin this and make it Martha's fault, I wasn't ready for Martha and Margot's sit down. But before we get to that, Margot and Mark Francis have their own sit down. And it doesn't lead to a peace. It really could have led to peace, but, and I have to give Margot credit because she's the one who reached out to him to sit down and have the conversation. But it seemed like he was doubling down on some of the things that he said about her. And she made it seem, it feels like you want to sleep with me. It's like you were like flirting with me. And so it goes off the rails in their conversation, and he ends up leaving. So I believe that it's a battle of who wants to be the bigger queen on this show. We've talked about this before when it comes to reality television. A lot of times the things that they're arguing about it has nothing to do with what they're arguing about. It has more to do about maybe their position on the show. Who's the bigger star? Who's trying to get the most attention? Who likes who in the group is more likable kind of thing. And I feel like Mark Francis and Margot are very much the same person. Later on in the episode, we have Margot sit down with Martha. A lot of M's over here. I was shocked when I saw Martha defend herself because I wasn't ready for that. But I also don't blame Martha because Margot is blaming Martha for why Mark Francis is talking about her fashion. Just you were the first one. And yeah, she made some comments about Margot's fashion, but you're blaming Martha? I think you just run out of people to blame. Margot's reaching. That's why I don't have a side in this fight. I'm not 100% on Mark's side. I'm not 100% on Margot's side because now Margot's blaming Martha. Margot was like, you're not the same woman. You're not the same woman that I knew 20 years ago. And I was like, and this is her confirming what one of Margot's old friends told Mark. She's not the same person. She's acting very different. But I just didn't understand how she was blaming Martha. But I was glad in that moment that Martha stood up for herself. Okay? Scorpio Moon says she was pregnant when this happened. Was she? Margot? She was pregnant? Did she just have another baby? Or are you mixing them up? Because remember, Lottie's the one that was pregnant. Lottie's the one that's pregnant. Just saying. Winter says Margot's giving postpartum. Which is, look, I can see that. I can see that. Carrie says, she writes, I don't recognize you. That's exactly what Martha says to Margot. And the way she says it with such drama, I don't recognize you. Even Margot seems taken aback. What do you mean? Okay. His Bookie Bear says Martha and Kimmy's hats were everything in the fashion show. First of all, Joshua, Lottie's husband, no matter how you feel about Lottie's husband, one of their storylines was whether or not he was going to show up as a father because he was so entrenched in work and fashion and things like that. We do get an update that he does show up as a father. That he is showing up, even though he's a workaholic like her father. May he rest in peace. But his suits, his fashions were amazing. He even dressed Micah for her event at the top of the episode. Like, those are well-tailored suits. If I could get a suit from Joshua, I would. Okay? So, yeah, Millie says Joshua can tailor the heck out of a suit. And this was a great platform for him. Now, people in America are seeing his designs. And not to say that people didn't already know who he was, but now it's like a whole new audience. Because I'm like, wow, those suits were on point. And Lottie, also pregnant and all, modeled in the fashion show because she's always modeled in his fashion shows. But he's been very busy. Here's the thing. As a designer, I was like, okay, not me personally, but as a designer, when you think about other designers, it really is a very encompassing job, especially when you're planning a runway show. But she says now that the baby's here, he is a very good father, very involved father, because she did have concerns that he wouldn't be. We even have a moment in the season finale of Ladies of London where Missy goes to visit her brother. So they were all doing like a finalization, because this was the season finale, a finalization of everyone's storyline. And Missy opened up about her brother being unalived in front of his children, his son, I think. There's a picture of the brother on his tombstone. The brother's good looking. He's a good looking family. She's beautiful too, Missy. But we get to see the brother, and the brother was like, good looking. Damn. Look, damn. Kimmy actually shows up during her visit, and they have their own moment. Again, like a full circle moment, because during the season she brought up, I heard he was unalive because he was involved in some stuff. And look, it might have not been the PC thing to do, but then we would never talked about it if she never brought it up. Okay? Ejurin? It says, my good news is I have a job interview on Monday, so send good vibes. Sorry, I am late to the live. It's okay. Good luck to you on your job interview on Monday. Everyone send good vibes to Ejurgen. Foxy says he was handsome. He was. Which just says her brother was fine. They're beautiful. She's beautiful too. I'm gay, but I know when I can see beautiful things. Oh, Jen says, not a Kimmy fan. She's not growing on me at all. She's that type of personality, but that makes her good reality television. Kimmy's a very polarizing personality. She will definitely be back if they get picked up for another season. Yeah, so what else did I want to talk about from this week's episode? What else happened? It was mostly about Margot and her beefs with everyone else. There really wasn't anything else I wanted to talk about. Micah's husband attended her event because he hadn't been in town. So I just feel like Margot and Mark are the same person. They're the same person. They're battling to be the biggest diva on this show. Dee says, I don't see it for Kimmy. Pageant Mom says, I like Kimmy for the show. Okay. Oh, hold on. Carrie says, my mom's maiden name is Kane. Maybe I got a secret connect. Please do. I would like a suit for my next live show. Give me a Joshua Kane suit. I have to say, I was very impressed. We've seen fashion shows all the time on reality television. That was probably the most impressive, but that's what he does. That's what he does. I don't know about that relationship. They're a little kooky for me, but you know who they remind me of? Alex McCord and her husband. That's who they remind me of. They're kooky in that way. But anyway. All right. Azili says Kimmy tries too hard. Nicole says Kimmy and that damn finger. Ugh. All right. Taurus Moon says Mika's boring. Here's the thing. Everybody here has a big personality. You need someone like a Mika, okay? You need someone that's a little bit more even-keeled. Speaking of Dara's, the Dara from this season, her former friend that she knew for how many years? 20 plus years? Lord have mercy. She might be a madam, y'all, allegedly. All right. Winter says he was no she by Sheree. No. Yeah, so that's how you could tell the difference between someone that's passionate about what they do versus and that does this on the regular. Exactly. Dudesy says, we've seen fashion shows with no fashion. Damn, Sheree. They're coming for your neck, Sheree. They're coming for your neck. But, guys, if you had to rate Ladies of London and how it did these 10 episodes, I definitely think it's going to get picked up again. How would you rate it from 1 to 10? I don't know if I want it to be on the same night as Beverly Hills next time it comes back, but I think it was a good show. I think it was solid. Like I said, I felt like it started off strong, and then there were a few episodes that were flatlined for me, and then it picked up towards the end. I'm interested. If you had to rate it, though, how would you rate it? Nicole, thank you so much for the super chat. Nicole says, West looks like Joe Dirt 2.0. Thank you for the super chat and for being a member. Jackie, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me shimmy, Jackie. Let me shimmy my Are You Okay sweatshirt. Jackie says, I look forward to FRI-YAY every week. Keep shining, Kempire. FYI, I am married to a Taurus. Best decision ever. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm just saying. What's your sign? What is your sign, Jackie? So that I can decipher what I need to marry. 8.5, 9, 9, 8.5, 8. These are good ratings. 9 plus from Foxy, the Girls Club, 8.5. Tyrese gave it a 6.5. Elle gave it a 7. Fumalayo gave it an 8. Zilly gave it a 7.5. Jennifer gave it a 9 out of 10. Jen gave it a 10 for 10. Koki gave it a 6 out of 10. Millie gave it a 6.5. Winter gave it a solid 8. Shay, Reality TV Reviews, gave it a 9 out of 10. Taurus Moon gave it a 7. All right. Steve C gave it a 9. Really enjoyed it. Hope it comes back. I think it will definitely get picked up for another season. Little Miss Sunshine and Ladies of London was greater than Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We will get to Beverly Hills in 2 seconds. Let me just double check my notes to see if I covered everything that I wanted to cover so far. Oh, I have. Look at me. Let's get into Beverly Hills then, because I have a lot of notes in regards to Beverly Hills. So part 2 of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion happened last night. If you had to rate the reunion, how would you rate it? I just feel like they gave us, and I told you they were going to do this, they were going to give us little bits of Dorit versus Kyle in part 1. We get a little bits of it in part 2, and then we're going to get the explosion in part 3. And honestly, I don't care. And I can see both sides of the situation. I'm not saying completely that Kyle is right or Dorit is. You're not friends, and you probably haven't been friends in a very long time. Okay? So let's just get into it. Last week's episode of the reunion ended with Bose versus Amanda. Here's what I have to say about this situation with Bose. Bose tries to make it seem like Amanda came for her and her business. Amanda was defending herself. You guys spent the entire season coming for Amanda, coming for her business, making it seem like you didn't understand her business, making it seem like you didn't understand manifestation, even though it's a part of your workshops, your charitable venture that you're charging for, workshops. She only read the reviews of what you guys were doing about her business. And then you tried to spin it and say, oh, you were reading the reviews of my business trying to, I forgot the exact wording that she said. Do I have it here? What she said? Blah, 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 blah. If I can find it. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. But she made it seem like Amanda was coming for her business to be derogatory. She was responding based on what Sutton said you said about her business, looking up the bad reviews about her business. So I found this interesting. This was an interesting segment between Bose and Amanda. Because first of all, Amanda is not equipped to battle with a Bose. Bose, and I said this was part of my concern with Bose being on the show, coming with a marketing background, she was going to be very conscious of how she's portrayed on the show. But very much like the jobs that she went in and spent 2-3 years at, she doesn't appear to be very good at it. Because she came in here trying to market herself to the audience, and what the lack of authenticity reaps through. She thought she could fool the audience, and the audience was like, oh, I don't like you. You're not very likable. Why are you? Amanda's not the most likable person, but at the same time, people are able to see through, like, she's not the most likable person. I don't know if I really like her. I don't know about her business, but I don't have to frequent her business to understand that you guys are intentionally trying to misunderstand her, are bullying her at certain particular points, and seem to be jealous, which is weird. So Andy brings up the fact that, points out that her being a chief marketing officer, Bose says that it's her job is not meant to be, CMO jobs are not meant to be for forever. They're not meant to be long lasting. Andy Cohen seemed genuinely confused. That's what stood out to me. We have to remember, before Andy Cohen is a talent on the network, it's a host. He was an executive behind the scenes. He's worked in corporate America for years, and in spaces very similar to the spaces that Bose worked. I think Bose's reaction to Amanda and calling Amanda a cult leader, calling her business a cult, calling her a scammer, basically, I think Bose was projecting. That is what I've assessed now. I'm assessed that you are projecting insecurities about what you feel that you do. Because no one understands why you constantly are still coming for Amanda. Because that has been something that's been online. Amanda bringing up your short tenures is not something that she had to search for, because that has been a conversation that we've been talking about since last season. So her trying to say being a CMO, they're meant to have short tenures. And then she said to Andy, he seemed genuinely confused. He was just like, really? And I say that his confusion stood out to me because, like I said, he's worked in corporate America for years behind the scenes. He has an understanding. He's been an executive. And so he's like, they're meant to be. So of course, Bose has an answer for everything. Bose is yes, because usually if the stock price falls, if something goes wrong in the business, they blame the CMO first. They blame the CMO first. And so he's just, I don't think Andy was sold on her explanation in regards to that. I don't think he was sold. Do you guys think that he was sold? I don't feel like he was sold about that. Funke says, hold on. I like Amanda, though she's harmless compared to the other ladies. She's also good at whatever her business is, unlike Bose. Bose is not who she thinks she is. Bose is able to talk a good game. Again, hence her coming from the world of marketing. She's able to talk a good game, and there are people that will fall for it. Last week, Bose was trying to question people's intelligence when people were calling her out for being caught in yet another lie. She says, I'd. I didn't say I said I'd. And then she was called out in her own comment section about that. I wish I could find the comment here now, but I didn't pull it for now. Bose, girl. That part, Mary Jane says, Bose should have said, I didn't want to stay there. But I think they would have saw through that. Taurus Moon says, Bose is a fraud. Real House Husband says, he looked the way I was looking at the TV. Andy Cohen. I watched that part multiple times because I was like, wait, I had to read Andy Cohen's body language. Andy Cohen's body language when Bose said that CMO tenures are meant to be short. Exactly. DC says, I work in marketing. The CMO does not go first. Laughing out loud. She's DC. But here's the thing. Because of the women that have not come from that world, although, like I said, Andy has a little bit more of an executive history than everyone else there. She can say things to the audience, and people are going to fall for it because they don't come from that world. But Andy's just really, very much like Real House Husband. We were all like, they're meant to have short tenures? And you seemed genuinely confused. Exactly. Alma says, Bo's trying to gaslight Andy and the rest of the audience. Very much like what she did after last week's episode. After last week's episode, this was the second time or third time she decided to do a video talking about being caught in a lie. Alma says, I work in HR with execs, including the C-suite. Bose likes to talk to the audience like we don't, like some of us don't have very well-versed backgrounds as well. She likes to talk to the audience like we're less than smart. We're just reality TV folks. Like some of us haven't worked in corporate America for years. And here's the thing. I've worked in corporate America for 15 plus years. And I've seen a lot of people like Bozoma St. John. Okay? That can talk a good game. And look, sometimes that's what works. She talked a good game. She was in a bunch of different executive positions from major companies to the point where she's able to talk that up. Now she's on a reality show with Amanda Francis. Just saying. So I've seen a lot of people in the corporate world that talk a good game, and I'm not saying this about Bose because I didn't work with Bose, but some of y'all did and y'all weighed in last season. But I've worked with people for years that were elevated to bigger and better positions not because they worked harder, not because they were smarter. A lot of times they didn't work at all. A lot of times you're like, how in the hell are you keeping a job? I had someone that was the head of my department. I was like, how are you keeping a job? You're never at work. To this day, I don't know how we kept a job. Just saying. And if y'all ever worked with me, y'all know who I'm talking about. Okay? But there were other people other than this particular person. But I saw the way this person spoke to other people. Very much. It's a black person, too. It was a way that he spoke. He was very charismatic. I think that's how Bose elevated. But again, I never worked with Bose. But I'm telling you, in corporate America, I saw a lot of people move from position to position, elevate, not because they were smarter, not because they worked harder. It's because they were able to maneuver in a variety of different ways behind the scenes. But here we are. Oh, here it is. Amanda addresses what Bose, the bad reviews. Here's the thing. Bose says that the intention to, she talks about the CMO stuff, and she says that, Amanda says that she was just reading what it says, and Bose says that Amanda was reading it to criticize her. My thing is here, Bose tries to call Amanda out reading the reviews to criticize her. So what were you doing? What were you doing? This was a culmination. This was a culmination of you guys coming for her business and questioning her business. And then in Italy, you guys are Googling her business reviews. Wasn't that your intention to criticize her? No. Bose is going to frame it as, no, we were comparing.
Lies! The lie!
Bose, you may be able to fool some of the people on the internet, the people, yes people in the comment section. Yes, Bose, black girl magic, smart, she's been here. People fall for that all the time. But I'm not falling for it. I'm not falling for it because I've seen it before. And Andy Cohen's body language in that moment really told me like he wasn't falling for it either. He just let it go. He just let it go. Exactly, which is only Bose can criticize people. Quad Mother said exactly what Bose and Erica did to Amanda. That's what you guys were doing. And that's why Sutton in the moment says she didn't like it in the car. And she was like, guys, let's not do that. And then they try to gang up on Sutton. Here's where Dorit loses me. Because somehow, because Kyle in the moment, she's like, guys, let's not talk about people's businesses. This is why we shouldn't talk about people's business. Dorit tries to bring it about her. You're talking about people's business. You're the one who did all of it. You're the one who kicked this off. No, she didn't. Look, don't get me defending Kyle. Kyle is not the one who kicked this off. They have been coming for Amanda's business the entire season. It wasn't Kyle that kicked this off. She blames the fact that Kyle did not come to her book cover release as kicking this off for talking about people's business, not supporting people's business. Even Andy was confused about that. What business did she not support? Oh, the book cover? That was at the end of the season. They were already coming for Amanda and her business and her manifesting all season. Dorit, shut up and mind your business. Dorit wanted to just bring it back to her. So then this leads to a back and forth between Kyle and Dorit. And Kyle, I always supported your business. And so Kyle starts going off all the different things that she supported over the years. And she's, Kyle, how about we stay in the present? You have to go back 10 years to talk about all the things that you supported. And then she talked about Lucy Juicy, Apple Goosey. Remember she talked about that? And she was like, I supported you then. She supported you then and lost her friend of many years. And look, at the end of the day, that was Kyle's choice. She supported Dorit during that situation and lost her friend, Lisa Vanderpump, a friend that she had for many years. And they haven't been friends since. She did support her though. And Kyle at one particular point read the text message that she sent to Dorit as to why she couldn't make it to the book launch party. Here's the thing. I said already before, again, not a huge fan of Kyle. However, Kyle really had a daughter getting married that week. She was plotting, planning. She was busy. If you ever thrown a wedding, if you ever had a kid having a wedding, you know what that's like. I understood why she's like, I can't come. We're not in the best place. I just can't. I'm tired. And she sent an actual really sweet text message. Dorit responded with a very sweet response. But in this reunion moment, she's now acting like I was being courteous. I was being cordial. No, that's how you felt at the moment, but you accusing other people, projecting, saying that people need stuff for a storyline, it feels like this is what you're doing during the reunion. You need to have this beef with Kyle. Because I do believe in that moment, you were like, I understand. You might have been annoyed. You probably still wanted her to come, but that's not the energy I got from the text message response that you sent, Dorito. Okay? So they have their back and forth in regards to it, and Dorit is just upset. She was like, how about you stay in the present? You haven't supported me for the last couple of years. For those that may have missed it, PK sat down for an interview this week. He sat down for an interview. He talked a little bit about his divorce from Dorit. We talked about it on Tuesday Takeover. He does give his side. He doesn't like the fact that she's trying to paint him as a bad father during the season, especially because he wasn't the greatest father for his older kids, so he tries to be a better father with the younger kids. I already told you, based off how Dorit moves, I don't believe 100% of what Dorit says. Do I believe everything that PK says? No, because PK was trying to spin a narrative during this interview too. But I don't believe Dorit 100% because when Mauricio was like, I've seen the text messages, and he was calling her out, Dorit had no response. She wanted to write Mauricio off as, oh, you're just defending your best friend. Okay? Exactly. Lakia says, exactly, Kempire, because you wasn't upset until Bose said, keep the storyline going. I thought what Bose said to her in that moment was ridiculous. Oh, come and say hello, spend 30 minutes. Yeah, you're filming. Kyle has been doing this longer than you, Bose. You are not going to come to a filmed event and spend 30 minutes and leave. It's going to get wrapped up. Someone can pull you into one thing. You got to get dressed up. You got to put on hair, makeup, all this other stuff, and go film. So a half hour is now turned into 3, 4, 5 hours. Let's be real. But okay. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. OMG Steph says, Queens of Bravo posted Andy responding to a fan. He said that the CMOs he has met are long-term. Oh, thank you to OMG Steph. Also, there's an article they posted from Forbes. The CMO who took over for Bose is still there. I did see that. The CMO that took over for Bose is still there. I'm telling you, Andy didn't fall for that because Andy has worked at that level before. So I'm glad that Andy said it. I'm surprised he said it because I was confused too. Thank you so much, OMG, for getting that and for the super chat. Bose thinks she's smarter than all of us. Demi, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Demi says, Bose isn't connecting with the audience and has only connected with Dorit. She doesn't need to return if that's her only friend. Bose is probably going to use the storyline of getting married because this is Bose. Bose is not going to get another job as a CMO at a major company like that. She's not. Especially after doing reality television. She's not going to get that level. So Bose is going into the next chapter. She wants to be on television. And I wouldn't be surprised if she wants to do more of these badass workshop things. Missy P, can you give me the clap back? Missy says, Bose just clapped back online. What does she say? Look, can someone just get it to me? Because I can't. Can someone get the comment for me and copy paste it here, please? Thank you. Because I'm telling you, he didn't fall for it. We're not falling for it, Bose. We're not falling for it. Exactly. Miss Parker said, hey, Miss Parker says, doesn't Bose understand that the information she was given can be debunked? No, she thinks that she's the smartest person in the room, always. She really thinks that. Wave Keith, thank you so much for the super chat and for being a member. Wave Keith says, the Beverly Hills women don't know how to read, so their arguments only aggravate me because, and when you say read, you mean read, so their arguments only aggravate me because of making me laugh. All they do is scream. This is why I love RHOP and RHOA. Bose thinks she's the smartest in the room. You're right, Wave Keith. This is why the back and forth between Kyle and Dorit, I'm just like, I'm watching it. Oh my gosh, this is so draining. Because it's not funny, it's not sharp, it's not witty. You're right, that's exactly what it is. Okay, did we find it? Let me see. Brandy says, public corporations have shifted to shareholders' activism, making changes to the C-suite levels to influence stock price. CFOs have a more stable tenure, but not CMOs, for a refreshed marketing strategy. Is that what she said? Or did you copy and paste what she said? Exactly. Carrie says, this is why I love this community, because we use critical thinking and see through it. And yet we're not team anyone. We're team us because we don't know these people. All right. Oh my goodness. B Cutie says, I like Bose and would like to see her return. Whatever she did in corporate world, she did well. I ain't mad at it. I don't think any of us are mad at it. I just wish she would be more genuine and more honest. If you missed it, guys, you can watch the uncensored extended version, which is like 47 minutes as opposed to 42-minute version that we watched last night. You can watch that on Peacock. They're not paying me, but at this particular point, they should. They should. Speaking of paying me, shout out to RHOBH for sponsoring today's live FRI-YAY. I know you're probably tired of hearing people say, new year, new me. However, it can be a new year and a new you. Everyone is trying to get back into the gym. They're trying to do some weight loss things. You may have also heard of GLP-1s. Our friends over at RHOBH has gotten you covered with the new GLP-1 pill. The pill is a new, more convenient and approachable way to GLP-1s if you've been thinking about it. A self-administered shot can be a bit intimidating. But now there's a pill that delivers comparable results. If you've been thinking about getting on a GLP-1, RHOBH might be the way to do it. They have 100% online care, access to clinically proven, FDA-approved medications, free insurance checks, side effect management, dosing support, and more. RHOBH offers the first FDA-approved GLP-1 pill for weight loss at the lowest cost around. The new GLP-1 pill has the same weight loss ingredient as the shot and packs comparable results to the shot. It can help patients lose 14% of their body weight in a year on average. This is based on a study in non-diabetics with obesity or overweight plus a weight-related condition with diet and exercise. You may have also seen Serena Williams talk about collaborating and endorsing RHOBH as well. As a world-class athlete, she also wanted to drop pounds after having children. If I had needed this particular option, this is what I would use. A pill versus a shot? Why not? Go to ro.co/KEMPIRE to see if you're eligible for the new GLP-1 pill on RHOBH. That's ro.co/KEMPIRE to get started on RHOBH. Go to ro.co/safety for box warning and full safety information about GLP-1 medication. More details on your discount and more will be available in the description. Okay, so back to our Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap. Guys, I'll be adding the timestamps after. More information on all of our sponsors will be available in the description. So you guys should let me know that it's a video that Bose did clapping back to Andy Cohen. So I'm going to play the audio of the video for you guys under fair use, and then we will react. Keep liking the video if you haven't already. Thank you so much already for 500 likes. We appreciate the support. Let's play this. Here's the thing. I know when Bose is bothered when she is posting video response. Let me post it. Let me play this for you guys. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me just turn this up.
Andy Cohen, come here. I'm calling you to the front of the class, okay? Did you really make this face? When we were at the Real Housewives...
His face during the question about her tenures, and she was like, CMO tenures are supposed to be short. He went, because everyone is confused by that.
Beverly Hills reunion, and we're talking about this.
CMO job
It's a short tenure job.
It is?
Yeah.
It's not meant to be for
It is intentioned to be a long time, but what happens is that a lot of times the blame of any company's failure or its issues with the stock falls on a CMO.
Now, I know you couldn't have meant to have a skeptical look, right? Because there have been plenty of white papers and think pieces that have been written about the tenure of the CMO and the high-pressure job that it is.
So she shows one of them. Why is the CMO tenure still the shortest in the C-suite, and what can be done about it? She highlights Forbes magazine, CMM role became impossible. What's replacing it?
So even though you decided to double down with this,
Andy Cohen responds to someone, why is Andy so confused by Bose's statement regarding the tenure of a CMO? Andy responds, says, because every CMO I've worked with was more than a long-term thing. But what the hell do I know? That's what Andy said in the comment section. I'll show it to you. Please hold on. Since we're citing our sources. Hold on, let me show it to you. And that's the thing. And this is exactly what I said when I saw his reaction. I was like, people forget that Andy is more than just a TV show host. Andy Cohen has worked with multiple executives. So you can see here Andy's response, because every CMO I've worked with was more than a long-term thing. But what the hell do I know? And y'all know I don't give Andy Cohen much credit at all. We call him out when necessary. But I was just like, no, I got to give him credit because I know his history of working at that level for many years, behind not just at Bravo. So she continues.
I'm going to believe that you were simply unaware. But now you're aware. Okay, now everyone, while I have your attention, I don't want us to be distracted by this debate about whether or not I can keep a job, okay? But by the way, do you really think that billion-dollar businesses would keep hiring a CMO who has a failing track record? No, okay? And do you think I'd be placed in not one but 2 Hall of Fames if I didn't do anything? No, okay? So it's not an accident or by happenstance, all right? And let me just say Let
me also add this part. As I've said to you guys before, as someone that's worked in corporate America for 15 plus years, I'm always shocked. Like that person I mentioned to you that elevated multiple times, and I kept on like, this person doesn't work. They end up moving to other places and getting the same types of jobs. So I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen, Bose. I know you probably see these videos and you're probably like, what do you know? What do you know? I know a thing or two because I had a life, many layers of a life before coming here, working for myself. I've seen people that do not deserve the elevation. I'm not saying that she didn't because I didn't work with her. I'm just talking about what I've seen in corporate America. And if you've worked in corporate America or currently work in corporate America, please weigh in. I've seen people elevate, leave one company, did a terrible job at that company, and go off and get another job at another big, major billion-dollar company. So it's not impossible. Just saying.
part out loud, which I didn't say at reunion. Of the approximately 329 to 346 Fortune 500 companies who have a senior marketing leader in the C-suite, only 1% of those CMO roles are currently held by a Black woman. 1%. That means if we take the high number, let's say 346 CMO roles, that means 3 or 4 of those roles are filled by someone who looks like me. And oh, by the way, I know them personally. That's how small the circle is. So I hope that everyone who was skeptical is now aware of the disparity, the challenge, and the incredible amount of fortitude it takes to achieve, all right? And even though I chose to retire from corporate life, I want everyone to be aware that more than 300,000 Black women have been forced out of the workforce, not of their own volition. It is outpacing all other factions of the population. Even though Black women continue to outpace all other factions in education. Do you really think that this sounds fair? How can it be? So if you really want to debate who can and cannot keep a job, let's actually talk about that. And let's find a solution. So in closing, I quote from the great American poet, Lil Wayne.
Let me turn it off because you ain't about to get me demonetized. So that is, look, we're fair. We're playing everyone's side. We're sharing our side. We're sharing Andy's side. We're sharing Bose's side. So that is her explanation as to the CMO role. And there we have it. And look, I agree with her. We know how this was just reposted on social media about how when it comes to content creators and how Black content creators are not paid the same as white content creators and what they're offered. A lawyer came out and spoke about that. We get the disparity. One of the biggest criticisms, and I always remind you guys this, of Bose in corporate America, because allegedly, some of you called in and shared your own experiences. Allegedly, you want to be the only one. So if there could have been more coming up behind you, you weren't the one to be the advocate for it. Allegedly. Allegedly. That's what the streets were saying. So your behavior on the show, wanting to be the only one, people are like, it's just mimicking her history in corporate America. Allegedly. Okay. Anyway. Someone said, Amara says, not quoting a man that can't read. Damn. Well, Jen says, she's only kinfolk when it benefits her. We literally had, what was it? We had Tish call in multiple sources and stories about her tenure over the years in corporate America and her coming in with the whole perspective of diversity. But it was doing something completely different and uplifting people that did not look like us in those spaces. And then we had randomly, I forgot who it was, they called in and was just like, they didn't see our recaps of Beverly Hills last season. And he was like, oh, I need to share my thoughts on Bose because I had an experience with Bose too. But here's the thing too. Because I know there would be the one or twos of you that feel like because I'm a black person, I shouldn't be calling out Bose. No, I'm going to call out Bose when Bose is wrong, when I'm suspicious of Bose and what she's and how she's moving on this show. I'm going to call it out. I would do it for any other person, so why would I not do it here? But as a black person, I wanted Bose to succeed on this show until I started hearing, oh, she doesn't want anyone else, though, that looks like her to succeed. Oh. But all right. Gus says, Brandy in the background looks gorgeous, sidebar. Thank you. I was supposed to put the other books that I have over here. Raquel says, I'm tired of Bose. The fact that Bose has done multiple videos after some of these episodes already tells me, I already know how she moves. She's feeling insecure. She's feeling insecure, and that's the reason why she feels the need to respond. And she swears she's the smartest person in the room. I've said this countless times. I've seen people like her in corporate America, and I've seen them elevate and go to other companies when they probably should have never gotten another job anywhere else. I'm not saying that's her because I never worked with her. I'm talking about other people I have worked with that would get elevated, and you're like, how in the hell is this person getting elevated? And then when they finally get to the point where they can't get elevated anymore because someone else has called their card, and they're like, you're not getting elevated. We're actually letting you go. They end up, because of the titles and because communication isn't in there, in HR, Pageant Mommy weigh in, they're only verifying your employment. They're not saying to your future employer, she was terrible. Maybe off the record, but on the record, based on HR policy, they're verifying dates of employment, your positions, and that's it. They're not telling you anything else. They're not telling you anything else. But anyway, I've digressed. Look, I didn't even get to the rest of the episode yet. Jackie says, thank you for the super chat, Jackie. Jackie says, Bose, you about to lose your job if you keep clapping back at Andy. No, I don't think so. But Andy was confused. Look, Andy was confused. Danielle knows too, working in HR. Yeah, see, Danielle says facts. Way of Keith, exactly. Way of Keith says Bose is just as emotional as K. Michelle. They just handle it differently. Yep, I agree. Let me see. Oh, Talk in it says, most aren't Kemp. They'll say they want to help you out, but they don't. Often they can't because they get pushed out. Happened to me 8 years ago. Let me tell you, the people that I knew, let me just tell you about one particular person. I'm not going to tell you to name anything. Was the head of my department in corporate America. Gave me a promotion like he was giving me something. Gave me a promotion without the monetary raise. I got the title, but not the money. It took a white woman that replaced him to get me back to the level that what I should have been making based off of my title. Because at no particular point after giving me that particular promotion did I see the money. I didn't start seeing real money until this white woman came into his position. Just saying. And I'm just giving you an example of me. I already saw all kinds of other things happening to other people in other departments. Just saying. But anyway, Danielle says, companies ask for your references for your work ethic, and hopefully no one will put someone down who won't vouch for them. Exactly. Chris says, the audacity. Coco says, same thing happened to me. Just saying. But Bose is the smartest person in the room. Okay? Bose is the smartest person in the room, so no one can challenge her, except we will, always. All right, let's move on from there. So Kyle and Dorit are fighting. Dorit and Amanda address this. Here's the thing. I'm not going to even go through the back and forth between, Dorit and Amanda about Dorit pushing forward in regards to after Amanda said this was the anniversary of my son's death. Because Dorit should have just ended it there. What stood out to me during this part of the conversation, Rachel has taken a side. Rachel is a part of the Dorit team, the Dorit and Bose team. It's very clear that she decided to be a part of their team. And I'm not saying that she should be a part of the Kyle team. She could have been in the middle, but she decided she was going to defend Dorit. I did not understand why this was necessary in this particular part of the segment when we're talking about Dorit continuing a conversation after she just said, this is the anniversary of my son's death. Rachel's, you know what really bothered me? She said, I have more of an issue is when Amanda responded to Dorit about the ghostwriter. Yes, Amanda's response about the ghostwriter, I just wrote my book myself. Yeah, it was weird. But I'm surprised they haven't talked about Amanda being diagnosed as neurodivergent. Because to me, that makes even more sense why she responded that way, why she misses social cues. But I also, at the same time, love the fact that she's not using that as an excuse, but it's a real excuse. She sees and deals with the world differently. But Rachel bringing that up, I was just like, that's what most annoyed you in that moment? She was like, even before that, you know what bothered me was the fact that you called out Dorit for using a ghostwriter. So that justifies Dorit pushing forward when she just said, this is the anniversary of my son's death? I didn't understand it. And you're lucky that Amanda's not a good reader and can't clap back the way that someone else would be able to clap back. I was just like, what? And Amanda's like, that wasn't my intention, and I apologize. I appreciate Amanda in that moment just really taking ownership of a lot of stuff. She apologized. She also said that she's not scared of any of these women. She feels like everyone has a good heart. I was like, you better than me, Amanda, because I don't feel like everyone had a good heart. Everyone was coming at you this season. They did not have a good heart. Bose doesn't see it for you. Dorit doesn't see it for you. I don't know if Kyle really sees it for you, but she tried to. Let me say thank you. Thank you, Demi, for another super chat. Let me shimmy, Demi. Thank you, shimmy. Let me shimmy. Demi says, there is zero way to diminish her success. She's acting like Black women can't achieve greatness, acting like the anomaly. She separates herself from Black women. We know her success because of TV. Demi says, this is zero way to diminish her success. She's acting like Black women can't achieve greatness, acting like the anomaly. She separates herself from Black women. We know her success because of TV. Some of us do. Look, some of us do. All right, guys, if you haven't already, be sure to the video. It's an easy, free way of supporting not just my channel, but other channels as well. One thing I forgot to mention, have you signed up for our mailing list? Mods, can we post the link to the mailing list? It's thekempire.com/join. Join our mailing list. This is where you'll be the first to know about exclusives, exclusive interviews that might be coming up, tour dates that might come up, discounts, special announcements. This is where you're going to be the first to know. So sign up today at thekempire.com/join. Let me know in the chat once you've signed up. Okay? All right. Let me see. Nicole says, Garcelle, where you at? Garcelle's living her best life. She has a new book coming out this month. Happy May, y'all. Happy tourist season. All right, let me move on. So then they move on. Oh, Kathy and Jennifer arrive. We see Kathy getting out the car, and Kathy she has a bunch of stuff that she's handing to the driver. She's got her pillow. It's also her birthday. So she's got flowers all over her trail. They treat Kathy very differently. Because even at one point when Kyle is breaking down, Kathy's phone rings. And she actually answers the call, but no one says anything. If it was Dorit, if it was someone else, Andy would have lost it. But it's Kathy Hilton, so no one says anything. Alma, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Gus, you got the membership. I love that. Thank you for being a member. If you didn't get gifted a membership, head on over to teamkempire.com/join. All right. Quad Mother says, I really hope Amanda comes back just to get under Bose's skin. I think she'll come back. I think she had a decent season. You know what I mean? V. Spencer says that Amanda is the Pinky Cole of Beverly Hills. They want to humble herself and kiss their ass. And she's just not picking up what they're putting down, laughing out loud. Jennifer says, Kemp, when you get your daytime talk show, will you still have your live shows with us? Look, sure. No, I probably won't do live shows like this. It will probably be more so like informal, like after show lives. So it's not formulated where I have to produce the show. Because a daytime talk show is 5 days a week. So, you trying to kill me? All right. Let's move on from there. So Kathy and Jennifer arrive. I thought it was funny when Jennifer went to Kathy's trailer and she said, "You're not going to wear any jewelry?" And Jennifer, "You think this is what I'm wearing to the reunion?" Because she was in like only her hair was done. Kathy is funny. All right. So then we have Kyle's package. And I will say this. Thank you so much, Taurus World says, "Can't I sign up for the mailing list?" All right. Here's the thing. I felt for Kyle during this because I had to put myself in the place of, look, she was married to Mauricio for a very long time. They had how many daughters together, raised children together. So I did feel for her. And I felt like during this segment, we got a better understanding as to what happened between them. So she gets emotional and says that Mauricio's disconnect during that house tour of their old home. She says that Andy points out Mauricio's disconnect, and he asks whether or not his emotional disconnect was maybe one of the reasons that they separated. And she confirms, yeah, that was part of the disconnect. She also talks about being uncomfortable watching Mauricio be like a single guy in Colorado. Rachel's whispering over there, "Oh, yeah, he's living a very different life. He's living a very different life." So Kyle reveals that she got some DMs and text messages about the RHOP ladies. This is the uncensored version. You probably didn't see this in the Bravo version. She did get some text messages from the RHOP ladies because you remember Mauricio was on that season, last season, and about them flirting with Mauricio, and they were apologizing, saying they would never do that. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Here's the thing: when Kyle talks about being uncomfortable with Mauricio, flirting and doing all these things. How do you think he felt when you did that music video with Morgan, who has a new podcast now? You're welcome, Morgan. How do you think he felt about that? How do you think he felt? Because before we were seeing him around town with women and stuff like that, we were seeing you around town with Morgan, which we found out, and I'm going to keep saying her name because y'all refuse to say her name on the show. We would see you around town hiding in corners at her concerts and things like that, and pretending like you guys were just friends. How are we supposed to feel about that? How did Mauricio feel about that? Unless you're talking about all the allegations that Mauricio was cheating on years before. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about his behavior recently? I'm confused. I'm not saying that Kyle can't be hurt, but I just find it interesting that you're hurt watching him engage, and you were a little upset with him when you guys were in Aspen, that he was acting like a single man and you guys had been together. How do you think he felt? How you were acting? And maybe he was a little bit more overt with it, but there were rumors about you and Morgan for forever, only for you to confirm that there was actually a relationship. So you were very public, and you had a whole music video where you were insinuating that something was happening. I can't feel sorry for you then. I do feel sorry for her because I do believe they had a genuine marriage, a genuine relationship. Okay? Danielle says Mauricio's for the streets. So Kathy used to tell Kyle to stop talking about how sexy your husband is on TV. Kyle revealed that during the reunion. Kathy then compares Ken Todd to Mauricio. And Mauricio was like, huh? Like, are we comparing Ken Todd, Lisa Vanderpump's husband, to Mauricio? Kathy's a weird. Anyway, they mentioned that Kyle then talks about after the Aspen situation and seeing him be single, she says that they did have a conversation about filing for divorce. Oh, and exactly. Singer GST said, we can't forget about the tattoo scene that they filmed. She tattooed her initials onto Morgan. So, come on. Like, you tattooed a whole other person that we find out later that you're dating. We're supposed to feel sorry for you that Mauricio is acting like a single man and you guys are separated? So, after Aspen, that's when they had a real conversation about filing for divorce. And I guess what they've decided was which person gets into something serious with someone, that person's going to want them to file for divorce because now we're getting serious. Maybe we want to get married. And Bose brings up a good point. Bose says, don't you guys think that you should start separating your assets right now as opposed to waiting to blame someone else for this. But no, that's going to be her season 20 storyline. Her season 20 storyline, that's what she's going to use. Oh, he's got this new woman, so you're going to dog her out the same way that Rachel's been dogging out her ex. Rachel says that she feels as if her and Roger never worked together, that they would still be married. I doubt it. I get what she's saying, but in part of me, no. I have a feeling like you still probably would have gotten a divorce. But you never know. You never know. So Bo says, don't you think you should start like separating assets now and divorce now instead of just blaming someone else? But Kyle jokes, no, I'd much rather blame someone else. It was a funny moment. Kyle says that she isn't waiting for Mauricio because Dorit asked her, are you waiting for Mauricio? She's not. And she says that she likes the way that things are now because she feels that if she divorces Mauricio, that things will change. Meaning like them having dinners together and vacationing together. For me, this felt like a genuine moment with Kyle. And I was like, you know what? That does make sense why they might not file for divorce. She feels as if she files for divorce now that it will affect their relationship as the way that it is currently. And she doesn't want that to change. And I feel like it's already changing, but okay. But it made sense to me when she said it. When they talk about separating assets, she says that the agency is half hers. She said when she met Mauricio, he had 2 nickels to scrub together. And they have no prenup. I was like, this might be the real reason why they're not getting a divorce, at least from Mauricio's side. Because Mauricio probably realizes that, no, we built this billion-dollar business together, and she will be entitled to have. Right now, she's not asking for anything. She's able to live the life, and she's not asking for anything. It could also be possibly because Mauricio's in the middle of a few lawsuits, too. So it could also be some of that. Thank you, Latoya. Latoya says, Kempire, I signed up. Yes, guys, don't forget to sign up for our mailing list, thekempire.com/join. Okay? So that might be the real reason. Look, we've speculated that might be the reason why these two have not divorced, because there's a lot of millions to be split. Okay? Then it leads to a conversation about Sutton. Sutton doesn't get any child support anymore, but the $300,000 a month that she was getting was just her alimony. She says that child support is not taxable, but the alimony is. But isn't the $300,000 after taxes? I can't remember. I feel like she said it was after taxes. And we have to remember, too, speaking of Mauricio and Kyle's divorce, California is a 50-50 state. So she's half is mine. Exactly. Millie says it's assets and debts. So it wouldn't surprise me that some of the money over there might be part of the reason why they haven't divorced. The money might be a little funny. Not funny, but just a little bit. Like the debts part of it. So Sutton's still getting her alimony, though. I wonder how long Sutton will get her alimony. But Sutton made well in her divorce, too, because she got half of his assets, too. She did very well for herself. And now Rachel, she wants to date the man, but the man's already dating someone else. All right. Speaking of Sutton, let me see. Oh, Bose, during the extended version, talks about, because part of the reason why Kyle feels like if they had not stayed in LA and they moved to Vail and they lived a simpler life and they did not put their relationship on reality television, she believes that her and Mauricio would still be married. I don't know if that's true either. Maybe. But maybe the pressures of this reality show has caused it. She blames social media. She says being in the public eye as part of the reason that really broke apart their relationship. Bose then brings up that she can understand because even her relationship with Keely has suffered, not suffered, the relationship hasn't suffered, but has been under a microscope being on this show, and people are very critical of her and Keely having a baby. Is she having a baby to keep Keely? Blah, 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 blah. So she brings that up. But Kyle denies that the show was a reason that she broke things off with Morgan. And Dorit, in response to how she's protected Kyle, Andy wants to know, was this one of the rumors about her and Morgan? But they refuse to say Morgan's name, but I'm going to say Morgan's name. Dorit says that she protected Kyle by not mentioning her relationship with Morgan. All right. The final package was Sutton's package. And I'm surprised Sutton even had a package because it really was about Sutton Strack versus Sutton Brown. All right. Sutton doesn't want to say that she had a drinking problem, but she did stop drinking for 3 months. Now she has like wine with dinner. But okay. Sutton tries to explain what happened with Avi. She says that Avi was a termination of employment, and they both signed things where they really couldn't talk about each other, which I can see that. She says she also gave him a severance pay as well. Here's the thing, Rachel, you're becoming more and more unlikable to me. Even though you never really were likable, for people that knew Rachel from before, Rachel decides to chime in when it comes to Garcelle and Sutton's relationship. And Avi being invited to to Garcelle's red carpet for her, I think it was her Lifetime movie. So she invited Avi. Jennifer Tilly in that moment, Sutton. She said, no, Avi and Garcelle were friends. That Sutton said that. Avi and Garcelle were friends. So she invited him. You know who else Garcelle invited? She also invited, remember that producer that blasted Bravo and now has like his own OF and stuff like that? Remember he did like a whole thing. And he sat down with Bethany too, talking about Bravo and the things that happen and how production is mistreated, blah, blah, blah. And he talked about Garcelle and talked about how Garcelle's such a great woman, blah, blah, blah. We used to love working with Garcelle. She invited him too to the premiere. So I don't think it was a big thing. I know a lot of people want to think that this was her clap back at Sutton, but no, Sutton says, no, they were friends. Jennifer says, I think it was quite intentional for Garcelle to invite Avi to her premiere. Girl, if you don't know anything, this is not even your fight to have. Mind your business. I thought it was like, why are you chiming in? Like, you don't know their relationship. You weren't even here last season. Mind your business. Exactly. Quad says Zoe should not speak on things that she wasn't around for. So you don't know Avi and Garcelle's relationship. You don't even know Sutton and Garcelle's relationship. So Sutton talks about not being there for Garcelle because Garcelle talked about this on Watch What Happens Live and saying that she felt like Sutton didn't take any accountability and that hurt her feelings. Sutton still doesn't get it. Sutton says that it was a real relationship. Jennifer Tilly says, no, it really was a real relationship. Okay? Sutton says she thinks what triggered Garcelle was a question that was asked at the reunion. You know, what was like your biggest surprise from the season? And she mentioned Erica. And Andy's just like, I feel like the reason why she might have felt away was because she had just said that Garcelle wasn't interesting. So you're talking about your biggest surprise this season was Erica. All right, so then it leads to Jennifer and Sutton talking about the little mix-up that they had during the season. Jennifer, I don't know what Sutton has on you. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't feel like you need to over-apologize the way that you were over-apologizing. Yes, Sutton has been there for you, fine. But I don't feel like there was anything that you said that was wrong. But maybe that's how you have to be a friend with Sutton. You have to walk on eggshells. But fine. But she apologized to Sutton, and she said, Sutton's been there for me. She's a great friend, blah, blah, blah. Dorit and Sutton then discuss the things that have been going on with them. And here's the thing. I don't think that Dorit's a good friend. But I also feel like the issues between Sutton and Dorit, at least this season, Sutton let the mouse go. Because she said that she was joking. And I know some people I don't think she was joking. Even if she was, it wasn't that deep. I do think that Sutton is grasping at straws here. But Kathy asked Dorit if she even cared whether or not Sutton came to her book launch party. Because you had a ton of friends there. And Andy then uses the analogy because Sutton says, yeah, you've come to my things, but then you talk trash about it later. So Andy makes an analogy. It was like, what if she came to your book launch party and she talked trash about it? And then she was just like, yeah, I would hate that. And then she tries to come for Andy's analogy, and she's like, it's not a very good one. I could tell that Andy doesn't like Dorit, but there could be a variety of reasons. Clearly, people will say that Andy has his favorites and Kyle's one of his favorites. Could be. But I also see that Dorit's not respectful of anyone's time, including Andy's. She's been late for reunions multiple times, not this reunion. She doesn't seem like she has a lot of friends, period. And I don't believe that the friendship between Dorit and Bose. I don't. Okay. Dorit says that Sutton says that Dorit came for the fashion show and trashed it. Andy makes that analogy. Dorit says that it wasn't a very good analogy. And I'm like, it actually was. He was like, I actually think it was. Not me defending Andy during this recap. It was a good analogy. It was a perfect analogy. But maybe she doesn't know what an analogy means. But all right. Dorit says it hurt her because then it leads into a conversation about her and Erica. Dorit says it hurt that Erica went over to Sutton. And here's the thing. This is where I'm like twerking on the fence when it comes to Dorit and her beefs with Sutton because I think Sutton was wrong. I also think that Erica was wrong because you intentionally did not send a text after Rachel and you discussed it. You discussed it and you said that you would send a text. And you intentionally got dressed and went to go film with Sutton and you intentionally did not send a text message. And I think that was wrong. I do think that was wrong. But Erica says that she was hurt that Dorit said that Erica was only coming for her to save her job. And look, some of us speculated that. And I said the only way that she was going to save her job is aligning herself with Kyle, who has really the only job security on this show, when she probably shouldn't. But Erica didn't like the fact that Dorit would say that to her. This is how the reunion ends, with their back and forth. Dorit says she doesn't know what she needs to apologize for. And Andy gets frustrated with Dorit because she's saying that she's hurt, that you said that she did this in order to keep her job. Little Miss Sunshine says, Kempire defending Andy is new. No, I've had my moments where I've defended Andy. But that's why I say when you are team no one, there are moments where you'll defend people. This week I'm defending Portia. I know. This week I'm defending Portia. Who would have thunk it? Look, who would have thunk it? Right? Too Foxy says a petty cancer versus another petty cancer. And Jen says that's why Erica has never really come for Kyle. I can see that. But Erica says that she's hurt that Dorit would say that she's doing this to save her job. And she says the thing that really, and honestly, this is where I have to agree with Erica. What really annoyed her was when in Italy, Dorit said that Bose is the only person in this group that has supported her the most. And then she went off the list of the things that she supported Dorit in. And I was like, and you saw when Kyle and Dorit were going back and forth, Kyle was listing off all the things that she's done for Dorit. I don't know if Dorit can do the same for Kyle or Erica. I don't think, although there are moments where I think Dorit is correct in what she's saying against Kyle and Erica and Sutton, I do feel like there's a bit of a gang up. I'm also wondering how has Dorit been a friend to these women over the years? Besides showing up to an event that's filmed, how has she shown up as a friend in real time? I don't know. Little Miss Sunshine says, Portia still won't unblock. Wow, the read. Jesse says, Kempire, we know you're a Portia stan.
Lies! The lie!
Really? Foxy says, really, burrito? Not burrito. That's a good one. I'm going to use that one. Stealing it. Amara says, yes, a July 9th cancer, the 1v1 is interesting to me. The one-on-one? Exactly. Chris says 50 Cent type of petty. I'm a Cancer rising, so the petty is in me. All right, y'all. Noda Queen, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me shimmy for the $20. Thank you. And thank you for being a member. Noda Queen says, this live came at the perfect time as I needed something to listen to while I sew. Hope you're enjoying the Gemini preset. No, you lying. Noda Queen, not the pre-Gemini season, Kim. I'm blocking you for that one, but thank you for the super chat. She said the pre-Gemini season. It is Taurus season. Kendra, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me shimmy. And thank you for being a member. Kendra says, Kemp, I went and had dinner and you are still live. Whew, dedication, sir. Early B-Day wishes to you. Mine is Sunday. Make sure grab a snack later. Kendra, happy early birthday. Thank you so much for this. Yeah, and my voice is tired, y'all. Keep liking the video. I am officially done But I appreciate you all being here for our recaps. We talked about Ladies of London. We talked about Summer House. We talked about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Part 2 reunion. We talked about a bunch of stories, pop culture stories as well. We also had a bunch of sponsors, so thank you to our sponsors as well. He says, we do see your Cancer rising, Kempire. All right. Replay crew. I will be adding the timestamps later. But shout out to those of you that add the timestamps for people that don't have the patience for me, which is fine. But very much like other people, you can listen while you're sewing or doing an activity, cleaning your house, something. All right? All right. Thank you to our King's Guards. Thank you to our channel members. Thank you to everyone that sends in super chats, Venmos, Cash Apps, things like that. We see that after the live. Thank you to those of you that have been requesting me on Cameo. I got a couple of cameos that I need to do. Maybe you have a birthday coming up. Maybe you just need advice. Maybe you just need a shout out, something. Or you just want to see my face, okay? Book me on Cameo. Cameo information will be available in the description. All right, shout out to all my Tauruses in the building. Exactly, where's the hot ginger lemon tea? Ain't nobody here to help me with that, but I'll go do that myself. But I'm going to go rest my voice. I will add the timestamps later, okay? We're going to have to get a timestamps person in the building because I can't keep up, especially on a Friday. I want to go enjoy my Friday and not have to do something else. All right. Don't forget, guys, you can listen to the podcast version of this live, an edited down version of this live on the podcast. Subscribe today. And speaking of subscribing, join our mailing list. This is where I'll be dropping tea first and announcements first, interviews first. The Kempire's Inner Circle will be the first to know. Head on over to thekempire.com/join. You have to go directly to that link to find the page. All right. Oh, exactly. Amara says, we let Kempire be. He was raised by 2 water signs, 2 Scorpios, to be specific. Arvy says, live again tonight? Excuse you? Why would I be live again tonight? To talk about what? To talk about what? Exactly, Nicole. Say her name. Morgan. Morgan, who's got a new podcast out. Carrie, have a good night. Have a good evening, y'all. It's 4:10 p.m. here in New York. All right. Your girl Pepe says, too many sidebars. You'll live with it. All right. I will see you on the next one. This was a 2.5-hour FRI-YAY live. 2.5 hours. Be sure to like the video. That's an easy way of thanking me for my time and my effort and my work. Okay? But thank you to those of you that send in super chats and Venmos and Cash Apps and things like that. All right? All right, y'all. Thank you to our subscribers. Thank you to our new subscribers. Thank you to those of you watching in the bushes. We appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have the best Friday and weekend ever. I will see you all in the next one. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. For more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.